Blank check with Griffin and David. Blank check with Griffin and David. Don't know what to say or to expect. All you need to know is that the name of the show is Blank Check.
This is a podcast for all mankind. Too big for my pocket, anyway.
That's nice.
I can't do an impression of him.
Well, that's going to be a problem for
all of
this
these
miniseries.
Yes, they're bad opens.
Bad opens. Bad opens, weird box office games. Get ready.
Oh, that's also a good point.
Yeah.
This is a
Later,
kind of
it'll be
uncharted
fine,
territory for us.
But
Sure.
these early ones, tough.
Man, what a rip-roaring start. Hello, everybody. My name's Griffin Newman.
David Sims!
He's pumping his arms in the air. Now he's like jazzercising.
Sure, right. Hot David 2019.
Can't argue with that. Hot David 2019. It's a Blank Check with Griffin and David. It's a podcast about filmographies, directors who have massive success early on in their career and given a series of blank checks to make whatever crazy passion projects they want. Sometimes those checks clear and sometimes they bounce. Baby. I think that is the fastest I've gotten that out in
very fast.
Months.
Wow.
Both the Micro Machines-esque clip in which I delivered it and the shortness of time it took for me to start
to get to it. Right. You just wanted to get it out there.
I'm all business today.
Listeners.
I'm all business today for new listeners and also because I've had diarrhea for 4 days straight.
The fastest of time where you got to that.
I can't keep it inside me anymore, David. My words, my meals, it's all coming out.
Now, you were telling me this is your first day maybe where it's sort of gone the other way.
I would say right now we're in the midst of Griffin Newman Infinity War, in which my body is at war with itself. Right. So now maybe things have tightened up a bit.
Right.
Recently, someone on the Reddit said that they disliked that in certain episodes I
talked about your bowel movements. Yeah.
Not even that. It was in the Patreon that I say I'm going to go to the bathroom now. So someone is unsubscribing so hard they are literally poking a finger through their phone.
Right. There's an unsubscribe button-shaped hole in their phone. Right. Yes.
Right. And there's sparks flying out the other end.
Classic.
This, of course, as everyone can tell, is a miniseries on the films of Hayao Miyazaki.
I don't know why I keep doing this. Hayao Miyazaki, baby! New miniseries!
New miniseries! Woo!
What? Okay. That I could do. I'll tell you this. Griffin's a pro. He's been pooping for 4 days or whatever. He's got the energy. I guess you're also out of your house.
I'm out of my house. I'm also out of my mind. I mean, you can attest I've spent the last hour having a nervous breakdown about the state of the entertainment industry.
Jesus Christ.
I've been yelling at you, holding you personally responsible for the dearth of studio comedies.
And I'm like, there'll be more. Relax, you maniac.
But not on TV. I want them in theaters,
there's
David.
a lot on TV right now. Look, TV is kind of where the money is, but you know what? Things move around.
Oh, no one should ever make a TV show.
Well, that's what you keep saying.
Here's a contradictory fact, though. No one should ever cancel a TV show.
Yeah, for the listeners who like to track when we're recording these, this is our first post-public announcement of the cancellation.
Vinyl being canceled. If you're trying to track the timeline, Vinyl just got canceled.
They're going to make a big movie that pulls it all together.
I hope so. Deadwood style.
Casper's going to be involved.
They've been keeping first of all, thank you for remembering that my character's name was Casper.
Fuck yeah.
You know why he was named Casper, right?
Friendly Ghost?
Was written to be an albino.
I did know that. You did tell me that. Yes.
And it came down to me and an albino actor.
Oh, dear.
And they hired me, and I said, I will not play this character albino.
Right. You're not going to put weird contact lenses on me or try and make me look like an albino or whatever.
Also, here's you're not
going to powder me.
Some talented albino actor who's calling his mom, and it's the character's written to be albino.
Right. No, of course.
It's down to me and another guy.
I guess usually though it's just makeup, right? Like Powder,
right?
Charlie Hunnam in Cold Mountain.
Yes.
I can't think of other examples.
Those are two. There are other examples. Right. What's his name? Dan Bacadol in The Heat.
Paul. Jesus.
Blart Mall Cop.
Paul Blart Mall Cop, famous albino. No, Paul Bettany and Da Vinci Code. Is it Da Vinci Code that he's
it's
albino?
The Code.
Yeah,
it's The Code, my friend. I just said I feel uncomfortable doing this
sure.
when there's no reason. I have 2 lines,
and they were like, okay, yeah, forget it.
They were like, oh yeah, thank God we don't want to go through that work. They were like, we were never going to actually do that.
Right.
Because it would have required bleaching my hair, my facial hair, of which at the time I had a mustache and sideburns. They would have had to bleach my eyebrows.
You would have looked
my eyelashes.
terrible.
I would have looked the worst. And you remember how bad I already looked.
You already kind of looked bad.
I looked really bad, and then I would have been bleached.
And also, you would have stuck out, like, if you're in a scene, I would have been like, oh, right, like, what the fuck? If
you were by a school, you would have been arrested.
I would have been arrested. Because then I would have looked like a supernatural child molester.
Yeah.
I would have.
No, you're right.
I would have. It would have been so bad. But you know what's good? The Castle of Cagliostro? Cagliostro!
You did it. Cagliostro.
I think this miniseries is called Howl's Moving Podcastle, right? Because we were talking about this.
I like Podcastle in the Sky.
Got 3 castle titles, Ben. And it feels like, why make it more complicated? It should be Podcastle. But the question is it the Podcastle of Cagliostro? Is it Howl's Moving Podcastle?
Solid.
Or is it Podcastle in the Sky?
Hell yeah.
I don't know. That's tough. I'm usually the tiebreaker, but I feel like, why don't we see what the fans like?
No. I also pitched.
Maybe you have a little more time to think about it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we could also pitch
and
it
you could
to
also
the fans,
you can
they
make
know
your
Miyazaki's
cases
coming.
to me
But
now if you'd like.
I also pitched the 2 Friends Moving Castle. Like, you could really jazz it up.
2 Friends Moving Podcastle?
Yeah, you know what I mean?
I like Howl's Moving Podcastle.
But who the fuck is Howl?
Okay, you know what? Who's Howl?
I mean, he's a character in Howl's Moving Castle.
Spoiler. We haven't gotten to that yet. This is a big thing. This is like the miniseries where I haven't seen these movies.
Yes.
This is a total blind spot for me.
Has that
This
ever
is one of my
happened?
most embarrassing cinematic blind spots.
Right, and this is partly why you wanted to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, to do this guy.
Because it's just like everyone's like, how is it possible that you not only
Like animation.
right,
You like animation.
right,
You're into it.
yes,
Thought about studying it.
serious about it,
You know how it works better than I do.
want to go into the field,
Sure.
and Pixar is so reverential to him.
Hugely. More than anything. Biggest influence they have is
Right.
In America is probably,
Right, and are responsible
Pixar
for
influence, sure.
Disney being behind Ghibli for like
For
the
a
last
while.
10 years of those films. They got releases and they had awards campaigns and
Yeah, for sure.
all of that because of Lotso Huggin Lasseter's insistence. The only time that Lasseter ever forced himself upon any issue.
Right.
Great episode. But it's this blind spot for me. I've only seen 2 of the movies. I saw one of them when I was young.
Totoro?
Yep.
Right.
And then I saw Spirited Away when I was in high school. And both of them I went, I don't know. I don't get it.
God, are you broken?
That's
Broken
the
inside?
question. And so I stopped.
Yeah.
I stopped. We know I'm broken, please. I've been shitting for 4 days. I'm fundamentally broken. I'm having panic attacks about a genre going out of popularity in popular culture. I'm a broken person. I'm personally invested in a genre.
It'll be fine. We'll get our genre. Don't you
I
worry.
want my genre. You know what's a cool genre? Castle adventure.
Well, then you're in luck because, like you said, the man made 3 of them out of 11
Dungeon
movies.
crawler.
Yes, that's what this is.
But what I was going to say is,
About Miyazaki.
at that point, having twice tried, when people were like, oh, you're going to fucking love this Miyazaki guy, and just been like, I don't get it. I was like, I don't want to keep watching these because I feel bad not getting them.
With Totoro, you probably watched the shitty old dub if you were a kid.
Most probably.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's not helping matters.
I probably saw it when I was like 6 or 7 when
Yeah,
Disney
you
like
saw
first
it.
released it on home video.
No, I think that was pre-Disney. That's the old dub.
I believe that was the one that Disney released. Because I remember being in the clamshell, baby. Then after that, Miramax starts putting them out theatrically. Miramax does like
They did
Mononoke.
I think that's it.
Maybe one other one. I don't know.
Maybe.
And then Disney takes over Spirited Away. They take over in the 2000s.
They did, and gave it more of properly supervised dubs,
Yes.
proper campaigns, proper releases. He won an Oscar, of course.
They'd come out in like 1,000 screens.
It would actually make an impact, yada, yada, yada.
Okay.
No, the Disney dub does not exist until 2004.
Weird.
You watched the crappy Streamline dub,
Weird.
which was distributed by Troma and released onto VHS by Fox Video.
Oh, Fox.
Yeah.
Okay, because they also would use the clamshell sometime.
Yeah.
I knew that Troma was the first to bring Miyazaki over here.
Yeah.
Which is a weird thing.
That is weird, but it was a cult object at that point.
It was a curio. It was like, to them, it was like, it's like this and Toxic Avenger, the same movie.
But then with Spirited Away, did you see that in theaters?
I saw that in theaters because it was such a big awards thing, and it was like it was the biggest film in the history of Japan, right? Yeah. And I was just like, I gotta see this thing. I'm a serious adult film mind now, 14. And I just sat there and I was like, I don't get it. She's like dating the river.
Hell yeah!
Which is like
it's
the moment.
Dating.
That's the moment where like you start crying, and I
God.
turned to my mom and I was like, I don't.
He's a river.
Like I wasn't being snarky about it.
Spoiler alert.
But
yes,
we've talked about. I was, a very confused child. I learned how to process the world through media.
Sure.
And so I really needed to understand the rules of media, like genre and format and structure. And tone and things like that were like very important to me. In the same way that you like the actual rules of things, I wanted like the rules of like how the format works.
Okay.
And this is such a different storytelling plane.
You mean like you were seeing this and you were like, you know what? I just don't understand anime in general, and that's probably a problem for me not understanding this.
Right.
And that's too daunting a task right now, so forget it.
Like, first of all, aesthetically, I was like, I don't get this artistic sensibility. Visually, and then I also don't get the whole sort of like spiritual track the movie is on. Sure. And as someone has said on Reddit, they were like, I wonder if he's going to actually come to like these movies because they're not very plot driven.
Sure, some more than other. Yeah.
And Griffin seems like someone who really needs plot. I like plot. We talk about a lot of mainstream studio films here. Sure. So if a mainstream studio film's going to work, it's usually going to work on a plot
that's the
level.
thing. I don't think of you as a plot-heavy person.
I just think that's the prism through which we usually discuss whether or not these movies are working. Yeah. But so many of my favorite movies are very plotless.
Right.
But a lot of those are things I came to later. So I kind of want to review everything through new eyes, perhaps with fewer hang-ups. Like this thing about me not like being very confused by things as a kid. Here's a good example with a movie that we've talked about before. I fundamentally could not make sense of the existence of Clifford as a child.
The Big Red Dog?
The Martin Short movie.
Oh, well,
when it would come on TV and I'd be like, I don't understand. Why aren't they acknowledging that he's an adult?
That's how I feel about Forky.
Take that name out of your mouth.
A fully cursed character. That's
David,
what we're talking about.
By the time this episode comes out, you will already have been married to Forky.
By the time this comes out, yeah, Forky is president.
And he's your husband.
Is he? Yeah, I guess he's male. Sure, yes.
We, of course, made a deal.
Well, we did? Wait a second.
Because you think Forky's a terrorist.
You
think he's a domestic terrorist.
I've just read some blogs and I know some information about the kind of activities Forky's into, the kind of ideology he holds. And, let me just tell you, I think he's in league with the Dark Lord.
You believe in Forkygate. And so, of course...
Forky's just one of these bits where I so rarely strike gold on a bit, and I've struck such gold. Because, one, it's kind of funny because he's such an ineffectual creature. Two, it works on you.
This is what drives me so nuts, okay?
Right.
It is so my kind of bit.
Right, you love this kind of bit. Right.
Save for I hate what it's aimed at.
Right.
This is my exact type of bit structure. And the way you can pound it into the ground. And every time someone tweets some bullshit at me, I have to like begrudgingly fave it because I'm like, that's well constructed. So at this point, I'm now retconning. At this point, we're almost 2 months after the release of Toy Story 4.
That's true.
T.S. Forky. And of course, months ago, you and I made an agreement that if you saw the movie and you hated Forky,
sure,
then that's where it lay.
Sure. Right.
But if you liked Forky, you had to marry.
I think I'm going to like Forky.
Then you got to marry him.
Like, leaving the bit aside, which I'm happy to do. I'm not particularly excited for Toy Story 4.
Yeah.
But Forky it's kind of like Will Smith in Aladdin, where I'm like, I mean, this is the wild card. This might be interesting. Because the rest of the trailers are like, they go on an adventure. They have to find their way home. And I'm like, I've seen this movie. Like, I don't know what that is. But Forky, that's weird.
So you kind of are done with Forky.
I'm kind of into Forky.
Well, my condolences to Joanna. Because it sounds like you're going to marry Forky.
It's a bit. Yeah, I'm sorry. And she's like, what are you talking? I'm like, yeah, I have to sign this marriage contract now. I'm going to marry a piece of merchandising.
No, the real Forky.
Okay.
I'm not buying a Forky off the shelf.
Right.
Let's tweet out the poll. Can you just do like in the old days, just tweet out the 3 options?
Okay.
How's Moving Podcast?
Oh, like a title poll?
No comment. Just put it out there, and at the end of the episode, we see which one is won. And there'll be a lot of dramatic tension in this episode, waiting to find out who wins, because it's not like it will already be in the title and the artwork of the episode that you're listening to.
I will get to work on that.
Okay, great.
The Castle of Cagliostro.
So, Miyazaki blind spot. I stopped trying to engage with it. I felt like it was time. I threw this out to you. He somehow hadn't been in our March Madness bracket the first year.
No.
And then was kind of thrown out by a bunch of people like, he should have made it. And
yeah,
then
what's up? Yeah,
that was suggested. I just said to you, like, I think we should just fucking do that. Mm-hmm. Especially coming off of Burton. I was like, let's do 2 David guys in a row.
That's true.
Yeah.
That this is, right, 2 my guys.
Right.
But it's your kind of miniseries, obviously. It's an animation-centric miniseries. And I like your idea that we try and tackle, like, within reason, an animator a year.
Yeah.
Maybe Selleck next year.
Hopefully the new one will be coming out.
Right. That was sort of our thinking.
Yeah. I think that's our thinking.
I still like my Clements and Musker idea.
I think it's a cool idea.
I feel like there was someone else. Well, Bluth, of course. There's always Don Bluth.
Right.
Who was on our bracket.
Right. And then there are people too, like, it's like, if Andrew Stanton ever makes another live action film, John Carter is such an incredible blank check movie.
Stanton's a great pick. And he's only like 4 movies, right now?
At this point.
Right?
Yeah.
Nemo, Wall-E, John Carter.
Yeah.
Dory.
Right, and you have 2...
I'm reading that. Forky guest directed Finding Dory.
Finding Dory's a good movie. Take that name out of your mouth.
Pretty sure Forky directed that one.
Hey, Finding Dory, a gentleman's 7.
It's a gentleman's 5.5 at best.
Finding Dory, and I'm going to repeat this, on an equal plane with Incredibles 2.
Oh, that's just ludicrous. That's the most insane thing.
Is Incredible a year later?
That's a fun challenge. Yeah, Incredibles 2 rules.
Is that still your 3rd favorite Pixar movie?
I don't know. I need to watch them all.
You at the time said
3rd favorite. Yeah,
no question, 3rd favorite.
Bird. Maybe 4th. Got a lot of love for Wall-E. Maybe 5th.
Inside Out.
No, it's above Inside Out. Toy Story 2 would be the other one.
Okay,
I think.
Why is everything going off on my device? David, I'm a mess.
The poll's up.
In the words of Officer Lewis,
I'm a mess.
I'm a mess. Here's a thing, though. I have had tangential familiarity with Lupin the Third for a very long time.
Okay, so hit me with that, because I don't really, apart from this movie.
I just feel like, as like such a comic book store kid, he was a figure that was like omnipresent in comic book store culture, especially in the 90s, when there weren't as many big crossover anime, you know? So this is like just like late 90s when like Dragon Ball Z is starting to air on like Toonami.
Yes, right.
You know, and
the mainstreaming, the vague mainstreaming in America.
But like pre-Naruto, pre-One Piece, pre these things that like start to like really seep over, even like pre-Pokemon. And I'm the kid who would like demand that we go to the comic book store after, Little League Baseball.
Sure.
And then I'd stay there for an hour and a half and be like, "This is my exercise."
That's pretty cute.
There was a lot of Lupin shit.
Yes.
He just seemed like
Lupin the Third.
This is the cool figure. Like, this is like a cool character.
Cool. He's a cool thief who has a gun.
Right. Here's just a well-dressed man with a shit-eating grin and sideburns.
Yeah. He's got kind of a weird haircut, but apart from that, he's cool.
Right. So I just feel like I was always very aware of, like Cowboy Bebop.
Sure.
This, Lupin the Third, and maybe, what's it called? Neon Genesis Evangelion. This always seemed like the one that I probably kind of like.
Well, the most grounded in a way, right?
Yeah.
No sci-fi elements. It's really just like capers.
Right.
He's based on the French gentleman thief Arsène Lupin, who, of course, you're a big fan of.
Well, so this blows my fucking mind.
Who's like he's like the gentleman thief. He was created in like the turn of the century. And, he's got like a hat and a monocle.
You're going
and he's like, I steal your thing.
David, you're going way too fast. There's a bunch of stuff I want to talk about here, okay? First of all, I love that the gentleman thief is a thing we can just say, the gentleman thief.
The gentleman thief.
The fact that the gentleman thief is an archetype.
I stole it, gentlemanly.
This is something I've taken.
I have a code.
I've taken this for granted for so long. And last night while doing in bed in between diarrhea runs, a deep Wikipedia sort of searching through all the Lupin marginalia, right?
Which is deep.
Right.
100 years long if you go all the way back to the French stuff.
Right. So then I was going into that Wikipedia and it said Arnaud Lupin is a gentleman thief hyperlink. And I was like, right. Mm-hmm. The gentleman thief is such an important part of fiction.
Yes. The guy in the tux who can go to a party, can like hold witty conversations, can chat up a countess or whatever.
Right.
But then also he's like, but actually I'm after your painting. It's mine now. Haha. Right? Like, that sort of thing. I nicked it.
I love these types of characters.
The guy who steals Homer's sugar.
Yes. I love these types of characters in like the late 1800s and the early 1900s who are just like, we all love the ongoing adventures of blank. Right. And it's like, would you believe a thief is a gentleman?
You know who's kind of a gentleman thief?
Who?
Carmen Sandiego.
Kind of.
She's kind of like a gentleman thief for the kids of our generation.
Yes.
Because it's kind of like, we're supposed to be after her, but you're also kind of like, I feel like Carmen Sandiego is kind of cool and worldly.
Yeah. And she's kind of a rapscallion.
Yeah.
She's super well dressed.
Yes, exactly. Right.
That was the big Lupin thing I remember as a kid. Like, it was just like, this guy looks cool.
Very cool.
Like, the skinny suit.
Mm-hmm. The little tie clip.
Oh, I mean, I love a good mismatched suit in terms of colors.
That his friends are all like another type too. Like he's got these like scoundrel friends.
I would dress like Lupin the Third if I could. And what holds me up is I wish I had the body type to sell it the way that he does.
You almost do. You're a skinny man.
It's the really lanky sort of stretch thing. Yeah. And it's like the pre-Wes Anderson, like the sleeves are up too high.
Right.
The pants are too short. The socks are showing. Like Lupin was on that drip pretty early.
So we've also got Raffles. I'm looking at some gentleman thieves.
Right.
Who David Niven played.
Monsieur Verdot. I mean, that's a more modern gentleman thief.
Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. What's his name's characters?
Well, but we're talking like a real, like,
old-fashioned.
A man who, like, infiltrates a ball. Okay. Describe what I'm doing to the listener at home.
Daintily picking up like a cloth.
Yes.
It's
like, or a jewel.
Simon Templar.
You think I'm picking up a cloth. What's underneath the cloth?
The Saint.
I'm folding back the corners of the cloth.
The Saint is like a classic. The Thomas Crown, Thomas Crown Affair. That's Gentleman Thief.
Right. Yeah. But the time of tops and tails.
Well, right. What Arsène Lupin is, he's literally in a top hat.
Right. So here's this character that's like Phantom X or something, who's like this like beloved French. Right.
Why doesn't someone do a Phantom X movie?
Phantom X is like vaguely in the Marvel universe now.
Yeah, he is.
So they should just put Phantom X in some Marvel movie.
Well, they'll work all those guys in eventually, right? But yeah, let's do. Come on, Jean Dujardin's too old now, but you need some kind of French scoundrel guy.
Fuck.
Who's who's the guy? Romain Duris.
Oh, I'd love Romain Duris.
You know what I mean? Like some kind of like scummy French guy.
Phantom X is another one of these like pulp French heroes who's like kind of a romantic cad.
Yes.
And is all stealth-like.
Anyway,
so
you've got
characters.
Those French gentleman thieves.
Right.
And then you have Lupin the Third.
There is no Lupin the Second, right? The idea was just leave a generation space in between.
Right. To catch up to the modern age, he's the third.
Right. But there was this whole thing, because the creator of Lupin the Third is Monkey Punch.
Monkey Punch.
It's his nom de plume.
It's his mom. He just died.
Went by the name of Monkey Punch.
Kazuhiko Kato, sorry. Monkey Punch, who just died.
And this character is not...
Like, literally last month he died.
This character, at the time, is not part of the public domain in the way that Phantom X is, but is sort of vaguely just kind of owned by everyone. Like, people do so much shit with him that they were like, I don't know, we can do a guy who's, like, sort of inspired by him.
Sure.
So they, like, make this thing that's, like, it's not James Bond Jr.,
But it's that's kind of the vibe.
But I love there's a weird space in the fact that it like 100% acknowledges the past guy by name, but it's not a direct spin-off of that franchise.
Yeah, so
it's not beholden to any past thing.
Yeah,
it's just sort of riffing off.
I guess I would not be allowed to do James Bond the Third.
Right.
But could I do Simon Templar the Third? Like, yeah, who could I do?
Alan Quartermain.
Or it would be like doing Robin Hood, like as a modern person.
Right.
You could say that, I guess.
Right.
Like his name's also Robin Hood, but he robs, art galleries.
But what's Beach Bum the Third? You could do that.
But what's weird about the fact that was like this character was still vaguely like protected under rights at the time, and it's sort of like major fan fiction.
I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. What if they instead of fixing Sonic, they were just like, actually, this is Sonic the Third. That's why he looks different. It's like
they slowly start evolving, becoming more human.
Right, generationally.
They only slept with other Sonics, so it's kind of inbred. And that's why it looks like that.
So
that's why their teeth are so long.
Lupin,
yeah,
is created in the late 60s. It's like a manga series by Monkey Punch, and then it spawns a media franchise. There have been, I think, 6 different shows, anime shows.
More. I watched 4 episodes from the first show yesterday.
Which Miyazaki worked on.
Right. So I watched the 2 first episodes that Miyazaki did not work on because I wanted to lay the land. Castle of Cagliostro. I'm going to fucking trip over this for 2 hours. Is the second theatrical Lupin the Third movie.
That sounds right.
The Mystery of Mamo.
Yes.
Which I could not find any way to watch.
Which came out a year before. Right. 78.
So I was like, if I can't watch the first movie, I'm going to watch some episodes of the TV show to get a sort of bread base. And I watched the first 2 episodes.
You love saying bread base. It's a great one.
I watched the first 2 episodes, and then I watched the first 2 that Miyazaki directed. Because I also was like, if I'm getting into this guy, if I'm getting into this guy Lupin, I want a little bit of a sense of what it would have felt like to watch the movie already knowing these characters.
I mean, yeah. Even
though I think this movie does a pretty good job of introducing everything.
100%. That's one thing that's this movie is like just perfectly constructed.
I agree.
Yes.
Spoiler, this movie rules.
But
I wanted to just have a little vague understanding of what it would have been like coming to the movie with some understanding of the character.
Right.
And then I also wanted to see the difference between someone else directing this character and Miyazaki.
Because Miyazaki's take on him is apparently a little different. A little softer, not quite as cruel.
Yes. I think I'm just about to go hardcore into Lupin the Third. I think I'm going to start watching this every night when I go to sleep. Sure. I'm getting really into this guy.
That's what anime, I feel like, is often so great for. Is it's like, it's short, it's bite-sized. If you want to just tackle an episode or two, you can
But I just love the setting of this world where it's like you have 3 primary characters who are defined by being the descendants of infamous types.
Right.
So Jigen is kind of his own thing.
Daisuke, yeah.
Who's sort of a cowboy gangster riff.
I love him.
But he's sort of his own thing.
He's my favorite.
Of course. He's sort of based on James Coburn in The Magnificent Seven.
Right.
Is his like look.
Right. Yeah. But the what's his name? Gorman, the samurai character?
Yeah. Gorman.
Right. Yeah. The first episode that Miyazaki directs is his introductory episode, which is he is the third.
No, the 13th. He is the 13th Goem. You're correct. Yes, he's based on this legendary outlaw.
In this episode, it is that his great-grandfather was bested by the original Lupin.
That sounds awesome.
He's not the first of his lineage, but he and Lupin the Third hold similar places within whose legacies they're directly defending.
Right.
And their 2 families have been fighting over this ancient sword for so long. And then the detective is based on sort of the legend of an infamous historic Japanese detective. Yes. And this character is vaguely also, in the same way that all of these things are like riffing off of these vaguely somewhat public domain concepts.
The Monkey Punch designs are so cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Like super, what's the word I'm looking for? Asymmetrical.
There you go.
My brain is melting.
There you go.
But I love that thing that it's like 3 people whose like legacies precede them. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But they also feel the burden of how infamous their family lineages
like
are.
Your
and the roles
upcoming
they have
project, Dan Hernandez and Benji Samet's like project about like all the serial guys getting together. It's sort of that. It's like what if we're like, yeah, what if Robin Hood's descendant and fucking this guy, the Scarlet Pimpernel's descendant, and this guy all hung out together, right? Whatever.
And it's a thing that we don't really have in American culture.
Let's do it!
Because we have like 5 like infamous American families, and they're all kind of creepy, just rich people.
Sure.
Like it's like we have like the Rothschilds and like the Vanderbilts and the Kennedys.
I hear there's a really exciting movie about the Rothschilds coming up.
Oh, it sounds so good. The Gettys. But that like...
Well, there's that... You're talking... Yeah, sure. But there's also the classic American heroes like Davy Crockett or Wyatt Earp or whatever.
Where's Davy Crockett's great nephew? Do you know what I'm saying?
Bring him in. I don't know what his deal would be, bring him in.
In these cultures that have existed for so much longer than us, they're like, our classic characters.
Yeah, right.
And now we culturally are making stories about the updates who also are literally descendants of these characters.
Right.
But there's just such a clean structure to Lupin the Third, whether it's in a movie or a TV show. I say as if I'm an expert, having watched, I don't know, 4 hours of content yesterday.
Sure.
Out of a 50-year media franchise that also came out of manga that I have read 0 pages of.
Fair. Yeah.
But of course, I am now an expert in Lupin the Third. You can call me Lupin the Fourth. And this sort of sense of like, he always starts out by like calling his shot. He publicly announces what he's going to steal.
Right.
He's so confident that he can pull it off that he tells the people who he's attempting to steal from that he's going to do it.
And they know who he is, and they're like, God damn it!
Fucking
you!
No! We've been preparing for this moment.
Right, exactly.
And then he's like, hold on one second, gotta call Interpol. And then he calls up Interpol.
And they're like, yeah, we're fine. Jeez,
yeah, we're on it.
And then the news comes.
Right.
They're like, he's going to steal something.
Right. He always somehow gets away.
Can I talk? So before.
And he's got these uneasy alliances.
Sure.
Because Dragon's obviously like his right-hand man.
Yeah.
But then the character who pretends to be the familiar in this.
Fujiko Mine? You mean the girl?
Right.
Yeah.
That's her name, right?
Fujiko Mine, yeah.
Yes.
She's the girl. She's like the Bond girl.
Right.
She always looks different.
Yes.
She's got lots of like disguise changes for every movie or TV show or whatever.
Wears a black catsuit sometimes.
But she's like his foil.
That's her archetype. Yeah. And they're in love sometimes as implied in this movie.
She's like the Catwoman to his Batman or whatever.
Her allegiance is chef. Sometimes she's working with them. Sometimes it's double cross. You never know.
Sure.
I like this whole world.
I do too. Before we get into the plot of the Castle of Cagliostro, before we breach the walls of the castle, how about slight bits of context on Miyazaki?
Please.
And then I bought a book.
Yeah.
I bought 2 books actually.
Right.
That they're trying to collect anything Miyazaki ever fucking wrote. That's what these books are.
Okay.
Like anytime if you wrote an article for like a magazine, you gave an interview, something like that.
Right.
They've packaged it all as like collections of essays.
Wow.
One's called Starting Point. I forget what the other one's called.
You've been doing your work here. Because I'll just say, I didn't know until recently, maybe 2 years ago, that this was his first movie.
This is his first feature. Right.
I was like, wait, Miyazaki directed a Lupin the Third movie?
Right. You assumed his first movie was Nausicaa? Or you just
I didn't know. I just was like, that's weird that he started out making like the second film based off a TV show based off a comic book. Because he becomes such an auteur. Yeah, he has his own studio. It's all fully his idea. It's like if David Lynch's first film was like inexplicably like Smokey and the Bandit 3.
Right. But sometimes that's how it goes,
sometimes,
right?
Like Piranha 2.
Piranha 2, right.
I was going to ask David, since Griffin talked about his relationship with the director, what's your relationship with Miyazaki?
It's boring. It's just that I saw Princess Mononoke whenever that was, which is probably the first
98, 99?
Yeah, when the first of his movies to be like properly exposed to American audiences, I feel like.
Thanks to Harvey Weinstein, American hero.
I feel like he messed with it in some way. But I remember it had a very fancy voice cast of like stars, Christian Bale and Claire Danes or whatever, right?
I think he messed with it in a bunch of ways.
I think he messed with it a lot.
But I remember it opening at the Angelica and it being like a sensation.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I saw that and thought it was terrific. And then I saw Spirited Away when I was 16 in theaters as well. And that was probably the first time I saw one of his films with
Is there
Japanese.
No film in between those two?
No.
That's like kind of his big gap.
Like a 5-year. I mean, that's the point at which he would retire after
every time
movie.
He says I'm done.
Yeah. So Spirited Away, I remember I saw that at the Camden Town Odeon in Britain where I grew up.
I'm sorry. Wait.
The United Kingdom.
1 second.
Of Great Britain.
Let's
Ireland.
roll back. You saw
Spirited Away.
Spirited Away.
This is Spirited Away. The
Okay,
second.
and how old are you?
16.
You said
Okay.
a kingdom? Yeah, it was, and it's
United
a series of
Kingdom.
kingdoms.
It's the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. Yep.
Wait, but what?
Is that?
It's a country. It's a sovereign country. It's existed for about
But why
couple
would you
thousand
have
years.
gone that far away to see? What was it not playing anywhere within?
Yeah. And you don't like
Because
flying.
I just said that Mononoke was playing at the Angelica. I would
grew
imagine.
Up
I
in
saw Spirited Away.
Britain. Grew up there.
Oh, my God.
From 1995 to 2008, I lived in Britain. So I saw Spirited Away in Britain, where I lived at the Camden Town Odeon.
It's disgusting.
In the big screen, Japanese dub, where you have the Japanese version.
I just took out a bagel.
He did.
Yeah.
And that was the one. Like, I had seen Mononoke and responded to it, but that was the one where I was like, why don't I know everything about this guy? Like, wait a second. Like, what is this? This is turned my brain inside out.
So then this becomes one of your guys.
Love him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there are people who are far better versed than him than I am. I've just seen the movies and I love him a lot.
I'm not saying
Anime
you're
was-
one of his guys. I'm saying he's one of your guys.
He's
He
one of my
wouldn't
guys.
cite you as his best fan,
No, he probably wouldn't.
but you'd say
probably
he's one of
doesn't-
your favorite filmmakers.
He probably doesn't even know who I am.
Don't say that. That's not true.
I don't think he knows who I
He
am.
definitely knows who you are.
You think so?
Oh my God, no question. He
He's
definitely.
a blankie.
David, he thinks about you a lot. I don't even think he's a blankie.
What do you think his favorite
I
blank
think he
check
was a big
miniseries
Night
is?
Cheese fan.
Yeah, sure.
I think he liked James L. Brooke.
Yeah, right. That was him. He was like, right, I love the I'll Do Anything double episode.
I
yeah.
did notice H. Miyazaki ordering a Hello Fennel mug recently on our TeePublic page.
Yeah, maybe he'll make like a delightful film about a talking fennel.
What if he comes out of
He
retirement?
options Hello Fennel.
What if he comes out of retirement and we like see the announcement of his new movie and it's just about Ben? And we're like, wait a second, this is 100%.
The producing adventure of young Ben.
Right.
I think that would be the movie that would
Yes.
break him.
Right.
He wouldn't
Yeah,
be able
right.
to complete it.
My new film concerns a magical, fantastical creature who comes from a porch in New Jersey.
One of the characters is a ditch.
I mean, honestly, I'm getting into it.
Yeah. David, I like staying in bed.
Me too.
It's a problem.
Be pretty great if that was just.
I'm a very depressive person.
Well, no, that's not great. Okay, wait a second. Get
No,
out
I
of
wasn't
bed.
acting like you were saying that was a good
No,
thing.
no, I just like I do like being in bed.
My struggle. But the point is, if I'm going to spend this much time in bed contemplating the reason for my existence, the experience has gotten a lot better once I started sleeping on Brooklinen.
They've been with the show for a while now. It's one of my favorite products, Brooklinen sheets.
Same here. Not to pick favorites, but it's
No,
one of my
it's a
favorites.
great product. Which is crazy to think about because it's sheets and bed things and towels if you want that kind of lots of linens and but they really are so reliably good. I just bought another bed set.
Congratulations.
I know, because
Retired bed.
one of my non-Brooklinen bed sets from the past, from my dark past, got a rip in it, and I was like, oh no, I have to buy more Brooklinens. Oh no, the website's already open.
Oh no.
You spend a third of your life in sheets. You want them to be comfortable. Yes, there they are. Rich and Vicky, the co-founders of Brooklinen. We
They're
love
good
them.
looking.
They are.
That's a handsome couple.
Vicky and Rich Fulop, they wanted to find beautiful home essentials that don't cost an arm and a leg. They want to make you comfortable with luxury linen sheets and robes that don't have luxury markups.
And Ben's pointing to an
Ben's, like, pointing at the
infographic.
website.
Well, it says you, right? You pay $100.
Yeah.
They take care of all
The cotton, the weaving, the transport and shipping.
versus the traditional way.
Oh, the middleman. We're cutting out the middleman. That's a big thing here. But it's not just that. It's not just the ease of the pipeline. It's also you're getting better quality products because the money you're spending is just going on the thing you're buying. You know?
Yes.
Not this complicated chain of events. And here's another thing, okay? When I get out of bed, I go like, oh, God, I hate wearing these stupid clothes, not feeling the sweet buttery satin of Brooklinen against my flesh.
Agree.
Are you aware that Brooklinen
They making clothes now?
is making loungewear? You didn't even know that. I genuinely just blew. You didn't even know that, and they didn't include it in the copy.
No,
and
but
I'm doing this out of genuine excitement. They didn't ask
They
us
got
to
a
plug
tee.
this, but
They got a short.
I'm on their mailing
Look at
list.
these sweatpants.
It's one of the few things I haven't unsubscribed
Joggers.
from because they always have great deals all the time.
They do.
This is very genuine. I would love if they sent me more free stuff, and they have
I'm
all
gonna
this.
buy those. Ben,
Right?
right
Some
now.
T-shirts.
It's got a pocket.
For men, women, folks of any gender orientation.
Listen.
Yes.
It's in their name, so you know it's good. Brooklinen's newest linen collection is amazing.
Ben's really excited by the new sheets.
Yes, the new sheets are great. I couldn't recommend their products more for graduates, newlyweds, friends or family, or treating yourself to the bedroom upgrade you deserve. So Brooklinen.com has an exclusive offer for just our listeners. You can get 10% off and free shipping when you use the promo code CHECK at Brooklinen.com. Brooklinen is so confident in their product and all their sheets, comforters, and towels come with a lifetime warranty.
David, breaking news.
Yeah, they've got crib sheets and cute things for kids too.
For a little baby, and they got little characters on them.
And they're really cute. The only way to get 10% off and free shipping is to use promo code CHECK at Brooklinen.com. That's BROOKLINEN.com, promo code CHECK.
That's the happiest baby I've ever seen in my life. Look at this kid in the Brooklinen website.
I love it. I'm really going to buy those jogging pants. Hayao Miyazaki.
Yeah.
Born in 1941.
Good year.
In Tokyo. In Bunkyo, which is a town in Tokyo.
It was a bad year.
41?
Yeah.
Historically? America enters the war.
Yeah.
Pearl Harbor.
Yeah.
You know, there are some things that went down in that year.
I make sure I'm not on record as being a 1941 fan.
It was the year my dad was born.
Okay, fine. A couple good things happened.
Miyazaki was born then.
Yeah, two good friends.
His dad worked for Miyazaki Airplane. This is going to come up because Miyazaki loves his aircraft.
Nice. Uh-huh.
He made rudders for fighter planes.
Okay.
So they lived a nice life. They were perfectly affluent. When he was 3, they were evacuated to a town called Utsunomiya. Sorry. Just want to get that right.
Sprinkling his bagel.
Utsunomiya was then bombed by the Allies in 1945, and he witnessed that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's just a bagel with butter.
Oh, butter bagel boy.
Yeah, sure. I love it. And so I think that those are just things you gotta note the attachment to aviation from birth, and you gotta note that he was like traumatized by war, at a very young age. Like he witnessed all this horrible stuff.
Mm-hmm.
His mom suffered from spinal tuberculosis, so she was in the hospital all the time. She was nursed from home. That's going to be pretty crucial for movies like Totoro, which are about like illness and family and things like that. She was a very strict woman, very distant, I think. And he wanted to be a manga artist. He
From
struggled.
the get-go. That was always his dream.
He struggled with people.
Okay.
But he was good at vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
That was his like.
Oh, in terms, I thought you meant socially.
Oh, I don't know if he struggled with people
Visually.
socially, but he couldn't draw them. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
He struggled with drawing people. He saw a film in 1958 called Panda and the Magic Serpent.
Okay.
Two things we love.
Yeah.
Classic mashup movie.
Yeah.
And that was his
most
like
epic crossover
lightning
event in
strike
history.
right moment.
Yeah.
He works as a young man at Toei Animation, which
Mm-hmm.
is like the big animation studio, I feel like, right? It's still a huge deal.
Sure.
And that's where he meets Isao Takahata, who's the man he's going to found Ghibli with, the other big director. Have you ever seen any Takahatas?
I don't think so.
You know who he is?
I know.
Grave of the Fireflies.
I've never seen Grave of the Fireflies.
Only Yesterday. Wow, you've never seen Takahata movies either. Of course, why would you have? If you haven't seen Miyazaki's, right?
He didn't do Princess Kaguya, did he?
No. Oh, yes, of course. What am I talking about?
But that was his last film?
That's his final magnum opus.
I saw that and loved it.
Yeah, that movie is
Which is one of the things that
incredible.
made me go I should go back.
I mean, that movie is so like heartrending. It's very special.
Kaguya I love, and Grave of the Fireflies is like a big blind spot for me.
Sure. Grave of the Fireflies is very good. It's
I think
very
it's
devastating.
probably kind of in my wheelhouse.
Yes, his best movie
Because of the devastation.
highly devastating.
Yeah.
His best movie is Only Yesterday.
Okay.
Which is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Wow.
Which is just about a girl who goes on like a retreat to a farm in her she's in her late 20s and remembers her childhood and all these sort of incidents from her childhood.
Oh yes, they just
re-released
finally
re-released it because Disney refused to put it out because they discussed menstruation in it.
Wow.
Yes. I mean, that's always been the rumor, I should say. Like, it's not like Disney came out with a statement saying, like, we don't like menstruation. But that was always thought of as the reason why Disney never put it out.
Right. I mean, Goofy came out with a statement. Yuck, I think it's gross. That impression fell apart the second he started saying words. I could do the laugh, kind of. Yuck?
I still think it was a good premise. So
the premise is funny.
But Takahata in 1968 makes an anime film called The Great Adventure of Horus, Prince of the Sun.
These are all good titles.
It's
a
great title.
Yeah.
Which is this insane movie.
Okay.
Like super crazy adventure, very kinetic, very like colorful. Miyazaki works on that movie with him. And so that's when they're getting going.
Okay.
And they work together on The Wonderful World of Puss in Boots, which is another classic Toei like 60s movie. And they work together on the Lupin movies. Lupin, however you want to say it.
Yeah.
On the TV show and stuff.
Okay.
They also want to do a Pippi Longstocking project that I think was fell apart when the rights holders were like, no. Something like that.
They do Heidi in the Mountains.
They do that. I mean, and they work on Anne of Green Gables. They did an adaptation of Anne of Green Gables, which I've never seen.
Interesting.
Miyazaki loves landscapes.
Yeah.
He loves nature.
Yeah.
He loves old buildings, things like that. And now I'm going to read for you from this book. Yeah, I'm not fucking around.
David's taking a leather-bound volume.
No, I took pictures of it.
He's choking up a key, and now he's using the key to unlock the book.
Oh, wait, here. Creaked open.
Wait, the book is glowing?
So first, he says, I began...
Chip Smith is on the crest of the book.
No, don't bring him into Miyazaki.
Maybe this will come up later.
Oh, Jesus.
Maybe it's just a tease.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Chip Smith's family book. I'm going to create a conspiracy subplot this miniseries. This miniseries is going to have a very detailed narrative.
Forky's at work here. That's what that voice is.
Forky's my friend, and he's your husband. I would appreciate it.
Look,
if you stopped airing our good friends.
I tell it like
secrets.
it is. I lay it all out there about my relationships. You know, I leave it on the table. All right. Here's what Miyazaki said.
Okay.
I began by drawing a bird's eye view picture of the setting for this story, a lake and a castle of a small country.
Cool.
When I completed this drawing, I was confident the film would go well.
I mean, that's a great attitude.
It is. So he like storyboards the whole movie. He gives it to a screenwriter who's the other credited screenwriter who like writes the plot and dialogue.
So this is not based on a specific like story. This is kind of his creation.
I think it's vaguely inspired by a Lupin story, but like pretty vaguely.
Because this is what I was reading.
It's very much his own idea, I think.
Is that at the time this film was not super well received within
It was seen as like he's not hardcore enough.
That was the thing.
Yeah.
Within the canon of Lupin the Third, they were like, he's acting too much like a hero.
Right.
Because the thing he's stealing this time is a woman's heart?
Yeah, get out of here.
The treasure is the discovery of an ancient city?
Right, which he's like, cool.
Right, and people are like, I want to see him make off with coins, a scepter.
Dollars!
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, much like, of course, our good friend Checky, Lupin's catchphrase is dollar bill, y'all.
Dollar bill, y'all.
Yeah.
He divided he said he wrote the plot out and divided it into an A, B, C, D. There were 4 like sections of the film.
Okay.
And as they were working, they realized that C was like, it was that the whole thing was way too fucking long.
Mm-hmm.
So that C was compressed and D was dropped.
Interesting.
Because of this compromise, I felt a sense of psychological defeat for half a year after the completion of the film. Even so, I do not think my method was a mistake. That's how he ends this little essay.
Okay.
So I guess whatever. But, it's like a 100-minute movie. I assume there was some kind of, you can't go too long on these things. And then he also wrote this really long essay about Lupin in Animage. About like the legacy of the character, what was so cool about this. It's Japanese people like at the time, this very kind of like cowboy American guy who like drank like.
So is he supposed to be American?
He's supposed to be French, isn't he? I don't.
That's what I'm so
know.
confused by.
He has. It's more that he has all these like Western
right certainly.
things, right? Like cars and watches and brands and like
also.
I don't know.
Touch of français. Petit peu.
don't know what he's
Un petit peu français.
He's saying he's a little French.
Un petit peu français.
When the Lupin series started, here's what he writes.
Okay.
Japan was still in its shirake, or apathetic era. Lupin was conceived as a character who had inherited a fortune, lived in a mansion, didn't care about the rat race, and worked as a thief just because he was bored.
Man,
it's
that
like
rules.
I know, or he's like, "Fuck you!" Like, I'm not a salary man, and I only do this for fun.
Right.
I don't need the money.
Yeah. Also, I dress well. Look at my green blazer.
Yeah, he does dress
He's
well.
got a joie de vivre.
He does. He holds himself so well.
Yeah. So apathy, Miyazaki says, was like the trend of the early 70s. Like that's sort of, the kind of like, that's why Lupin is so like floppy. He's always like sort of like reclining. He's grinning. He doesn't give a shit.
He's got shit-eating grin.
There's Vietnam, right? Like this, it's like, who cares? All the rules are broken.
Punk.
He kind of like, all of his like standing poses are like a marionette puppet. Like it's like these very like hard floppy angles, if that makes any sense.
Right.
I know it's contradictory, but he's both hard and floppy.
No, you're right.
Because it's like very clean lines and angles, and then it's always sort of like in relaxing or like leaning or, slouching poses or whatever.
Now, Miyazaki and Takahata, he
Okay.
says we were in the hungry stage of our career. We wanted to do whatever we could.
Oh,
right?
the Hunger Games.
But
They were in the Hunger
they wanted to take him out of this apathetic mode. That's what they were thinking in
Okay.
1978.
Right. They want to make him care.
We weren't ordered to do so, but even though apathy was still cool, we wanted the high energy of mini car races. We wanted Lupin to be happy-go-lucky and upbeat. He would like run around in circles, and like the inspector is the one who's kind of like the drone, and Lupin's like wild. He would rely on his wits and his physical abilities, and Jigen would be funny and cheerful, and Gomon would be an anachronism and all that, and Fujiko would not be like sexy. She's called Fujiko, referring to her large breasts.
Oh, funny.
Referring to the Mount Fuji, the
Gotcha.
mountain range.
Her name's Fujiko Love. What's her last name?
Fujiko Mine.
Oh, okay.
Mine.
Yeah.
And all that, and he's trying to like let's make it less fucking cynical. Like let's make it more fun. So
and it feels a little more classical. I mean, there's the whole thing to the movie. I'm sorry, I just took a bite of bagel.
He did.
But the whole thing to this movie of being like modern characters in this like very classic archetypal, like here's a castle, there's a princess in the spire.
It's very right. Yes, totally. But who's going to break in? Not a knight in shining armor, but this cool thief guy.
Although he wears a little armor at a point.
Yes. So, yeah, like that's the mini car races. He keeps talking about mini car races, whatever those are.
Pilot episode is him at a car race.
Right, and he loves that little Fiat he drives.
He's a
everyone's, like,
fast
stuck
driver.
there. I mean, the movie opens with them driving away from Monte Carlo.
Yeah.
And their car is so full of money that like the only thing that you can see in the car except for the money is their face.
It's like a clown car with dollar bills.
It's so great.
I mean, Checky. I watched the movie with Checky, and he was loving this.
He was like so he's cool with.
Like, I know
currency.
that guy. I know that guy.
So they're driving away.
Yeah.
And they're like, ha ha ha. And then he's like, fuck, get rid of it.
Yeah.
It's counterfeit.
It's all
this
counterfeit.
isn't real. And they
roll down the windows. Money
is like,
never stops flowing out.
I love it.
It's like the exhaust pipe of the car is just like an endless stream of counterfeit bills.
Right. And it was such good counterfeiting that even like a casino thought it was real. Right.
How did this infiltrate a state-run casino?
Great premise. And then the answer to that is there's this castle that's a country and is thus protected from like any international law.
Where is it exactly?
I think it's supposed to be
Italy?
like Liechtenstein or whatever,
Oh, really?
or San Marino, like one of which is in Italy. One of those nation states that's like just a city size.
Okay.
Where like
I've never heard of the country before.
It's not real.
What?
Fuck.
God, I wish.
Oh shit. Ben has kayak.com open. He was trying to book a flight to Cagliostro.
I wanted to see it. Look beautiful.
That's why he's been refreshing for an hour. There's
That's
blood
why Ben
on
has
his
Delta
keyboard.
Air Miles
There's
credit
blood
card
on his
out.
keyboard from hitting refresh over and over and over again.
Yeah, no, Cagliostro is not a real place. Yeah, San Marino, right? One of those tiny.
Sure.
Opposite of Coruscant. Whole planet's a city? No.
Oh.
Whole city's a country.
Yeah. Whole castle's a country. Whole country's a castle.
So it's
but Lupin knows about this
Grand Duchy.
He knows about this place. He immediately puts it together. He's like, "Hey,
Cagliostro."
First off, stop shedding tears for this counterfeit money.
Mm-hmm.
Because second of all, this gave me an idea for our next heist.
Right.
I know where we got to go.
We don't even need this counterfeit money.
Right.
Lose it.
Get it out of here.
So they're driving.
Mm-hmm.
They see this young woman who's being pursued by like a car.
Mm-hmm.
And
a bride.
She's a bride.
Mm-hmm.
And the car is being driven by thugs. And Lupin rescues her, and they like. Is that when they sort of like run down the cliff together?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll say this. Miyazaki, great at designing angry, grimaced faces.
Oh, sure. Yes.
So good at it.
Yeah.
Disgruntled, withered, frog face people.
They're only gonna get weirder and
weirder.
weirder.
I know that. Like, I just know from seeing images of his movies.
This is his cheapest movie, but it's very hard to do. I mean, it was made for 500 million yen in 1978. I don't know.
Yeah, I have no idea how to translate that.
I'm gonna try and figure that out. But yeah, come on, give me. You know, like this is this is Clarice,
right? But it's like who is this lady? Why were they chasing after her?
Right.
And
he sort of
how did I lose her?
In a very subtle way to like early on that he has this sort of like past relationship with her.
Right.
And I really like how they set that up,
right.
where even he's not telling his friend, and they kind of
ringing
wrestle each other,
right,
to like get him out of like get the info out of him
because he doesn't want to talk about what he's done before.
Right.
Right.
He wants to stay focused on the future.
Sure.
But it's clear there's a reason he knows about this castle. There's a reason that she's reminding him of something.
Right. Spoiler alert, he eventually confesses that he tried to invade this castle years ago when he was more of a greenhorn, you know, when he was new to the thieving biz.
Greenhorn?
You never heard that phrase?
No.
I'm going to make sure I'm using it right.
Greenhorn?
Yeah. Greenhorn, informal, North American, a person who is new or inexperienced at a particular activity.
Wow.
A greenhorn.
Mater.
The horn of a newly slaughtered animal.
It's literally referring to a horn that is fresh.
That's one hypothesis for where it comes from. Another is the German expression "grün hinter den Ohren," which means to be green behind the ears.
Wow.
You learn something new every day.
That is crazy.
Did you know that, Ben? Have you heard that phrase?
Yep.
Yeah. Greenhorn.
I know I want to make a movie that's like a greenhorn versus a bluebeard.
What was the Blue Flame Special? That's the other one we couldn't really figure out.
Yeah.
The Point Break thing.
I've seen a lot of people dig into it.
They never came up with an answer.
No.
They gave us answers, but it would only provoke more questions.
Yeah.
Like they'd be like, "Oh, it means he has blue flame shooting out of his ass." And I'm like, "Well, what does that mean? Where'd that come from?" It means
he's special. It's right there in the name.
Clarice?
He didn't want to talk about it because it's like, you know, much like DJ Khaled, all Lupin the Third does is win. He's never chalked up a big L. All he does is win. It's another one for him. And this was a failure of his. Cagliostro beat him.
Can we just talk about DJ Khaled for like 1 second?
Yeah, because you had never seen DJ Khaled until the SNL performance.
I'd never seen him perform. And obviously, I'd seen him in like GIFs and stuff.
No, same here.
And you always hear him in his songs.
No, I didn't know about that.
Right, that's what David wants to talk about.
He did something.
He does not.
Oh, he does nothing.
No, but what the fuck?
He's a producer.
I refuse.
He throws a party. He essentially throws a party, and he goes like, "You're invited to this song," and then has 7 massively successful and talented artists just take turns, and he stands there and goes like, he's like a ringmaster.
Well, there's a tradition to that in hip hop.
Yes,
of there being like very like prominent producers who put out their own album and then curate the artists, you know, who go on the track.
He is kind of an ultimate heightening of it, though.
But he's
in
the
terms
worst
of
version.
How much he makes himself the star of the thing,
right?
And
how
relation
bad the
to
songs are,
and also how little work he does.
Yes,
like usually it's a little more towards the middle in terms of like, but really it's about these other people, right. And also I'm very hands-on. And he's just sort of like, hey, next Thursday at 4:00, if you're free, can you come by? We're just going to have the mics on. And then like Lil Wayne shows up.
Here's what I've known about
and then
DJ
drops
Khaled.
his verse, and then he's like, cool. All of his shit's just improvised, where he just goes like, number one.
Improvised? That is an insult to Del Close or whoever the fuck.
He gets very defensive when people are like, you don't really do anything. And he's like, try listening to the songs without my interjections.
Probably they'd be bad because they're bad.
Yeah.
All right, look. So here's what I first knew about him, that there were like gifs of him saying like, congratulations, you played yourself. And I'm like, oh, he's like a big guy with a beard.
Right.
And I guess that's his vibe, that he tells people that they played themselves.
Right.
I don't
Tapped
even
out after the third wing on Hot Ones.
Well, that's something
He's a
I learned.
fucking
No,
loser,
we're
but
getting to that.
Okay.
We're getting to that.
Keyed up.
We're getting we're getting to that too.
Because he started out local radio DJ. He was actually spinning records, introducing
songs. I didn't really
songs.
know that, but I learned that later.
Also started out skinny.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Really?
He's fairly handsome when he's young.
Oh.
Out of Miami, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
That's
I'm
interesting.
so glad that DJ Khaled is now occupying real estate in the fucking castle.
Of Cagliostro?
Yeah.
So, like, I guess I first just initially thought, like, he's either on a reality show or a musician and has built up some sort of a brand as someone who tells you that you played yourself. He's sort of a calm, large man who says, congratulations, you played yourself.
I thought
no. You can talk in a second.
A very specific narrative.
Then I knew that there was something to do with keys. I didn't know what exactly, but I knew that he like either gave you keys or had a key.
I don't even know this. He gives out keys?
I don't even.
He's always talking about fucking keys.
It's some
like he's the key maker.
Thing he invented where he's like keyed up is like some kind of positive sort of like thing he invented. I don't remember.
Like Matrix Reloaded?
No,
it's not. I wish it was like that.
He's not the keymaster.
The keymaster.
Okay.
Keymaster, right?
Yeah.
Right.
No, and he also wrote a self-help book.
Okay.
So what I was going to say is I felt
all
like
I do is win. That's all his bullshit. Right?
I felt like he was pivoting into like Andrew WK territory of being like this weird pseudo motivational speaker.
Sure.
But now I don't think he's like moved away from that somewhat, or I think people don't like that he doesn't eat. He doesn't go down on women.
All right. Well,
he
so
does not perform cunnilingus.
Here's the thing. So then I know he has something to do with keys. Yes. Then I know about maybe like songs like All I Do Is Win. I realize like, oh, he's involved. I at least have heard of that song, right?
Sure.
Like, there's things like that. Then I'm like, I guess he's a musician and he has albums and he's famous. And for me to not know who a musician is not that weird.
Same here.
I'm not that keyed in.
Same here.
Keys anymore.
Wow.
Okay. Then I hear that he famously doesn't eat pussy. And I'm like, that's insane. One. Two, it's weird. And then I watch the clip and I'm like, he's proud of it? Like, what is this?
This is when I take note as well.
Exactly.
This is when he's got my
his attitude sucks.
I don't do that.
Because no one knows what he is. Like,
and
really
he's
what he
talking about,
does.
like, he's the king. And I'm like, what kind of fucking bullshit is this?
And they say, like, but what about your wife? Isn't she the queen? And his only response to that is, yeah, but I just don't do that.
Yeah, right. Which I'm just like, okay, so he's obviously an asshole.
A very generous man.
Right. And then you're telling me things like, the wings thing. And I'm like, okay, so he's just like a charlatan. He's like pulled the wool over all our eyes.
He taps out after wing 3 and then spends the remaining 20 minutes explaining why he didn't lose.
Yeah, we discussed this on a Patreon
It's a logical
episode,
fallacy.
if you guys,
yes.
right. Yeah, not everyone would have listened to that.
Right.
So then, all right. Then finally, the day comes.
Mm-hmm.
He's on Saturday Night Live.
And
his television program.
They said I'd never make it.
Sure.
DJ Khaled on SNL.
And I'm like,
he's had this narrative for like 10 years they wouldn't book him on the show. And now I finally get to prove my point.
It's the finale.
Big deal.
Paul Rudd is hosting. It's
Ant-Man.
a fairly bad episode.
Very bad.
Kind of a waste of Rudd.
Yeah.
Opens with this incredibly lackluster Trump sketch, even by their things, where they sing "Don't Stop Me Now."
I would argue the two funniest sketches in the episode were the DJ Khaled performances.
Right. So
I was busting a gut.
After like a lackluster 35 minutes,
right.
I guess it's time for DJ Khaled.
He comes out dressed.
Here I am. I'm finally going to see a song by him.
He is dressed like an uncle at Margaritaville. Right?
100%.
Yeah.
1,000%.
Yeah.
And he proceeds to invite other rappers onto the stage. They rap, and he points at them, says their name, and then after they say something, says yes.
And we're talking like 10 rappers per song.
Yeah,
and we're also talking...
And they're like, I've heard of some of them I haven't, but I assume they're big deals, right? Like some of them I know.
We're also at this point talking about an SNL performance from 3 months ago.
And I'm just like, how can this be? I understand.
How did this guy
Trump
book
is president?
A role in Spies in Disguise?
That is That's just
this
shame.
is the core of our confusion.
It's just a shame.
You're telling me, so immediately I go, this guy's got so little talent.
Yeah.
He's in the first credit block for Spies in Disguise. Who
block.
did he have to go down on in order to get that part?
He won't do it.
But then you tell me.
He won't do it. Whose hot wings did he have to eat? None.
You tell me he's not eating neither wings nor vagine. How did he get this role? The man. And here's another thing. For a guy who, on the record, doesn't eat a lot of things.
Sure.
How'd he get that girth?
He's a big guy.
He's a big guy.
But I'm not gonna.
But every time I see him on camera, he's saying, I won't eat that.
Fair enough.
That's all I'm saying. He's established a brand of, I won't eat that.
But like, I'm cool with that he's a big guy because I feel like it's a good look. He's kind of got that sort of Don vibe,
He's kind of Don vibe.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
He rocks the fuck out of a sweatsuit.
Yeah, he's got the sweatsuits. He's got the big beard. Like, he's got a good look. But he comes out. People are just coming on stage and doing work. He's just introducing them and saying, he's like someone at like a fucking cotillion, like announcing like Mr. and Mrs. Blah, right? Like, as they come in.
He's the bar mitzvah
Count
DJ.
of Cagliostro's here.
He is a bar mitzvah DJ bringing up relatives to light the candles.
That's what he is. And then here's
Aunt Janice.
Here's what a fool I am.
Oh boy. I love this.
I watched this first performance and I'm so baffled that I'm like, maybe that's
You had a meltdown on Twitter.
I did. And I'm like, and people are just tweeting at me like, DJ Khaled, keys. And I'm like, this is not helpful, but I guess you're all in on the joke. Which is, I guess, how we just proceed with society now, where someone gets famous, and rather than us being like, how did this happen? We're just like, I guess that's funny that they're existing.
But Ben said also, like, he made this transition. What really blew him up in the last 4 or 5 years was his like skill at social media and turning himself into this brand and this big life coach.
Right.
But then he's also like, no, but I insist that you take me serious as a musician.
Yeah, that he's
now watch
weirdly
me
got a
point to
huge
people.
chip on his shoulder. Right, but he only points to people.
Right.
But here's what a fool I am. A fool.
Yeah.
Is that I watched that first performance, was so baffled, and was like, you know what? I guess that was probably just one of his songs that's heavy on the featured artists. And maybe for the second song,
like 99.9% heavy.
Maybe for the second song, it'll be more of like a Khaled.
He'll point to
forward.
himself.
Yeah,
Finally.
Maybe he has a verse.
Yes.
A mere verse.
He does not rap.
The second one could start. It's the same fucking thing. At one point, he says Saturday Night Live, which is the show he's on. I've been watching the show for an hour plus. I know what the show is.
I had, in his defense, I had forgotten at that
So
point.
you were like, oh, you locked in. You're like, oh, this is right. This is Saturday Night Live. Right.
Right.
Just I don't understand it.
He has never rapped.
Okay.
He used to
congratulations to him. I don't know.
He used to actually spin the records himself.
Sure.
He does not either at this point.
Okay.
He is not a very hands-on producer.
No.
The basics of his job are inviting the people. Literally, like, if you're free on Thursday, we're having a cookout.
Well, he has
Come
engineers.
on by whenever it's
He
good.
has engineers make the track for him.
Right.
And then he invites the people over.
Which at this point, it's like he's got a golden Rolodex.
Right.
And then he fucking calls out who is the person rapping at that moment.
Which, look, as someone who's listened to rap music my whole life, sometimes, especially when you're younger days, you might hear a verse and be like, I don't know who this is. Like, maybe like the song would have like 3 artists featured and take you a while to figure out who each of them was.
But someone like your Dr. Dre, okay? The good Dr. Dre, PhD, started out as a rapper of his own.
Yeah.
Produced, was hands-on producing.
Sure.
When he would pick a new person, he might take a verse. When he had his own albums, he'd have a lot of featurings. But you knew whose music it was.
I know what he sounded like.
You knew what he was adding to the jambalaya.
So DJ Khaled is basically like the voice on my like wireless earphones that's like connected to David's iPad.
Correct.
Right.
And
he's
then
like, DJ Khaled, Meek Mill. And I'm like, okay, that's DJ Khaled was speaking and he announced Meek Mill.
And it's like if the voice on your Bluetooth headphones was like, by the way, I am the artist of this song, not the Beatles.
And I'm great.
Right. You're like, no, I'm listening to the White Album. It's like, I know, but through my headphones.
Yeah, I'm giving it to you.
This is mine. Ding dong. Ding dong, ding dong.
Who's at the door?
Oh, you seem very, very.
That's just when the doorbell
frustrated.
rings. Well, it is actually fair that a podcast host would be frustrated by someone
I'm just saying the doorbell
entering
rang
the podcast.
and you dropped your head and sighed.
Yeah, I'm a little hungry.
Okay, well, I'm going to get the door.
Okay, great. Who is
I
it?
just don't want to be rude.
Yeah, sure.
It's me!
Oh, boy.
Flat Stanley.
Oh, Flat Stanley, the famous flat guy.
Thank you.
From literature.
You remember.
Children's book, kind of?
Yep. Last time I did not get this sort of greeting. At least this time you know that you should know who I am.
Ben?
Oh, yeah. I kind of remember
Flat Stanley.
Now, think about you, Flat Stanley.
Mm-hmm.
Is that you're a flat guy?
Very flat guy.
Okay.
Very flat. Well, I love traveling the world. And I do have a very cost-effective way of doing it, which is, of course, putting myself inside an envelope and shipping myself around the world.
Oh, right.
But I'm getting a little older.
Yeah.
Just hit the
Father Time comes for us all.
3-0.
As Shaq famously said, you know who's unbeaten?
Time. Undefeated.
Old Father Time.
I want to correct you. I believe the line is time is undefeated.
I think he said Father Time, but go ahead.
I think he said Father Time is undefeated, rather than saying he has never been
he didn't
beaten.
say it as like a question with an answer. Yeah.
Right. Undefeated is kind of fun because it's like a sports thing. Anyway, I'm a big Shaq fan here. Point is, I just hit the big 3-0, and those flat bones of mine are starting to creak a little bit, Yeah. I would love to travel, shoving myself inside small spaces, but with a little more luxury. Do you know what I'm saying? If an envelope is economy, what's the first class of me being able to ship myself around the world?
Away luggage, thoughtful luggage for modern travel. Is that what you're talking about?
God, someone could put me in their away luggage and check the bag.
You can carry it on, my friend.
Free carry-on.
Carry it right on.
They don't even have to buy a ticket for me.
Not at all. You get one piece of carry-on luggage. Usually, unless it's a real gouger.
Okay, David, I'm gonna troubleshoot some concerns with you.
Okay.
I'm in a bag, easily crunched.
No. Away is like a hard shell.
What?
I have one. I use it for all my travel. I'm going on another trip soon. I'm going to be going to Toronto. I'm going to be doing all this traveling. It's a hard shell. You can put whatever you want in it, and that airlines are going to allow it. It's carry-on size.
Okay, but those bags, those roller bags can get a little bit bumpy. I think I got crummy wheels.
No, they have 4 360 spinner wheels that guarantee a smooth ride. I've had my away luggage. I put it through hell.
Yeah.
It's been through all kinds of crazy travel, and it is indestructible.
How do I know people aren't going to just break inside and mess with me?
Got a lock.
What?
And it's a TSA-approved combination lock. It keeps your belongings safe, but it's allowed to go through the TSA.
Okay, I'm committed to coming up with a problem that you can't solve. Okay. What if they also need to put some of their clothes in there? How do I get separated from their dirty laundry?
There's a removable laundry bag. What? It separates dirty clothes from clean clothes. Mine has these zipper compartments too, so you can kind of
Wait, you have David
Yes,
Sims.
I've been talking about my away luggage.
This is your personal experience?
Yes.
When you travel, do you ever find that you have trouble with your phones, your devices?
Yeah, I'm going to want to have an iPad in the away suitcase with me, but what am I going to do about the battery? There's no outlet.
It has a charger battery built in. All right. And you can take it out. It's ejectable if, you need to take it out.
Yeah, put it in the bag with me.
It's really powerful. I've taken it. I took it to other countries and forgot to have a plug charger. And that thing kind of saved my life.
David, it sounds like you personally, David Sims, had a great experience with this product. And I am convinced. I am ready to go out and pay full price for an away suitcase.
Okay, but...
What? Wait, Ben's holding up his finger as if to say, hold on.
Wait a second.
What? I'm going to go out and pay full price.
For one, they have a 100-day trial on anything they make. They have free shipping, so whatever you buy.
Sounds lovely.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But for $20 off a suitcase...
Ben's holding his finger like...
$20!
The good part of the song's about to hit.
For $20 off a suitcase, visit awaytravel.com/check and use promo code CHECK during checkout.
What?
That's $20 off awaytravel.com/check. Use promo code CHECK during checkout.
And Ben's rocking thumbs up and shaking his head like the beat just
it's
dropped.
It's great. And they have a bigger carry-on now.
Throwing up
if you
devil
want
horns,
a
sticking his tongue
sized-up
out.
one. And it's a great product. I really recommend it.
I'm convinced.
$20 off awaytravel.com/check.
Off I go! Away!
Let's talk about the plot of Castle of Cagliostro. Probably a good ad point there, right?
Yep.
What a good ad break that was.
You've got Clarice.
Yeah.
She's going to get married. She's actually quite shy and retiring. You got the Count.
Uh-huh.
A great villain.
Oh, boy.
This guy is a jerk.
What? What a grumpus this guy is.
He's a real grump.
Talk about a Chingus.
Beautiful. No, Chungus.
Sorry.
Not Chingus. I don't know what a Chingus would be. He's a big Chungus.
Uh-huh.
Got a big purpley, right, like a jacket, right? That's sort of his vibe.
A wide frog face.
Which, as you say, is just a Miyazaki specialty.
Yeah, right.
He's very, for someone who is bad at faces, What a face.
Well, he kind of makes that into his, like, maybe he's bad at your conventional faces.
I mean, but also
I was gonna
the
say,
look, his wedding look.
His wedding look.
That was my look for the wedding to Forky.
When you married Forky,
I was wearing the fucking purple cape and like
goat
a
horns.
hood of Bahamut or whatever this goat god is.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's got kind of the red jacket, purple, ready, you know, and then later
Yeah.
he has more of a sort of like military uniform, like a sort of red coat, right?
Right.
Like with the gold
Right.
buttons. The Count, he's a jerk.
Yes.
And Lupin does the classic, I am going to steal Clarice
I'm calling
from you.
I'm calling it. I'm throwing down the gauntlet. I'm stealing Clarice.
He brings in
This
Goemon.
time it's the greatest treasure of all. A woman whose love you do not deserve.
Obviously, the Count is like mass producing fake currency at his castle. So there is that. But Lupin doesn't really care about that.
Well,
the
but
inspector
he also,
cares about
that's
that.
the thing. But he knows that the inspector is going to follow him wherever he goes.
Yes.
And he knows that by bringing the inspector's attention...
Chaos. Stir up some chaos.
Yeah.
But I do love that. Right. He's like, cool. The plan is get the samurai guy, get Goemon.
Yeah.
He'll chill with us.
Mm-hmm.
Figured out immediately that lady is my old romantic rival.
Right.
Fujiko. So like...
But that's what I like about Goemon and Fujiko is both of them sort of have that like Namor Fantastic Four relationship.
Right.
Where they're like, I got my own thing going on.
But
I have my own legacy to uphold.
Right.
Sometimes we could work together if it benefits both of us. But sometimes you might think I'm working for you.
Right.
But I ain't.
Exactly. And then he tips off the inspector.
Yeah.
Who works for Interpol.
What a boss move.
Yeah.
Just be like, hey, this is Lupin the Third calling for the inspector. Just want to give you a heads up that I'm about to steal some stuff. Call me back when you get a chance. On my landline or on my cell.
And the inspector is just like wants to get Lupin.
That's his goal. Which I mean, God, one of those things I just love. Anytime that someone's life is devoted to catching someone, it's one of my favorite storytelling tropes.
Especially when you know he can't.
Yes.
You know, like the eternal frustration, right? Like there's something sort of lovely about that.
The great characters in the annals of storytelling. You're Wile E. Coyote.
We love him.
You're Inspector.
We respect.
Carl Tart's the Chief.
Gumshoes.
Officer Hanratty. Catch Me If You Can.
Sure.
Any of these guys who are just like defined by like, I'm this close and the guy always gets away from me.
Right. And then there's all kinds of business in the castle.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to remember what I guess it's like he makes it to Clarice. He's got her ring, her special ring.
And he sort of announces to her, he's like, I just want you to know, I got a whole plan going on.
Yeah, I'm going to totally rescue
getting you out of here.
Right.
And explains to her, like, I'm a thief. I rule. And she's like the James Caan movie. And he's like, exactly.
I'm going to pinch you.
Yeah. He pinches her.
And that, I mean, I just like, he gets dropped down a trapdoor. I'm just trying to remember if anything big happens before he gets dropped down a trapdoor. So apart from a bunch of cool shit.
This is an area in which this movie started to really get me all jazzed up.
Because it's a cool old castle.
Well, this is what I was going to say.
Mm-hmm.
The Fantastic Four movie that's existed in my mind since I was fucking 12 years old, that I like tried to write in high school and all these things. Right. The whole big idea was that the third act was like...
At Doom's Castle?
Yeah, and it was like this.
And he's playing I Want You Back.
That was a part of it.
Right.
I
just like that idea. I mean, it could be a different song. I just like the idea that he's playing the pop song that Reed used to like.
That was it. Was that they were college roommates, and that he, while he was trying to study, would be forced to listen to Reed play I Want You Back over and over again, and so he would torture him.
I'm just saying.
This is pre-Guardians of the Galaxy.
I know, but I'm just saying, Marvel, like, you have it now. They're going to eventually enter the fucking world.
Do you know how many friends, like called me up and texted me after Guardians came out?
And they were like, hey, I Want You Back. Right, yeah.
Because I'd be like, no, but it's like a superhero movie, but they use like pop songs because they were obsessed with the pop song.
Right.
I'm not giving myself any credit. I'm just saying.
No, I mean, someone was going to do it eventually.
Someone's going to do it eventually.
Right.
But the idea of aesthetically classic castle,
right,
history of this country,
right,
but all the weird like trap, sort of like death maze, mechanical, like when they have that like extendo bridge, and all the trapdoors in the tunnels. I was like, I want to see a fucking superhero movie that ends with 4 superheroes in like a fucking old school stone castle that has weird robot traps and like buzzsaws,
elevators, buzzsaws,
Doombots,
clockwork, Doombots,
all of that shit. And so, like, when I was like, oh,
this
fuck.
also has, like, crazy soldiers with, like, knife hands and armor.
So, like, I was I was like, this is the movie that's existed in my head since I was, like, an adolescent.
Right.
And now I'm watching this fucking gentleman thief
See, I had a similar...
own this town.
I had a similar kind of thought, but I was like, Mega Man.
Love Mega Man.
Oh, interesting.
And how you could, like, I don't know, like, I just think that's
what
such
Mega
an
Man
interesting
is.
property. And
Right.
just, like, how could
They
we
are
plug it in?
working
Like,
on a Mega Man movie.
Are they really?
I think so.
I think they have to be. There's a new TV show.
Oh, maybe that's
There has to be a Mega Man movie in the works.
You got to do Mega Man X. Tommy Lee Jones has to play Boomer Kawanga.
But also so much of Mario is the Bowser's Castle. I mean, just these sort of like, here's an incongruous kind of character type placed into a weirdly like stylized castle.
Yeah. Supposedly Henry Joost and Ariel Schulman are working on it.
Oh.
All for it. Love Nerve.
Weird.
You ever see Nerve?
I haven't seen Nerve.
Oh.
I got to hit the nerve? Do I got to hit that nerve?
Yeah. You'd love it. You'd love it.
Okay.
I also think Paranormal Activity 3 is fantastic.
I agree with you on that.
And
saw
that's
that
them
one.
too.
Yeah.
They also did Paranormal Activity 4, which is less fantastic.
Didn't see.
But,
And Catfish, of course.
And of course, Catfish.
Of course, Catfish.
But Nerve is great.
If you carry a bunch of copies of Nerve, you could say you have a lot of nerve.
I mean, yeah.
And you know what? You could say if I stole one from you, if I like shoplifted, I just sort of pickpocketed one from
You've
you.
taken my last nerve?
Well, I pinched a nerve.
It was worth it. It was worth it.
That's not bad.
Not bad at all. Not bad at all. Better than Ben's thing, which, by the way, was a catastrophe.
But got there.
One thing I like, I remember before we get to the trapdoor, right, is when Lupin's like on the other tower.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got this gadget that he's going to use.
Yeah.
He's trying to light it.
Yeah.
And then it just all falls apart. And he just runs down and does crazy jumps. Very Mario-esque sort of crazy platform jumps from castle to castle. And then climbs up the wall.
But I also love...
I think Miyazaki loves all that physicality.
He loves parkour.
Yeah.
I love that he's somewhat of a Bugs Bunny figure.
Yes, he is.
In that he's just like this little fucking stinker.
He's super chill, but he's often kind of right at the edge of sanity or
right. And it's like he's high status because he kind of remains unfazed.
Yes.
But he's also usually in danger and not succeeding.
Near death. Yes,
near death.
Right. And often things are going wrong.
Right. He just takes weird things out of his pockets. His
that
jacket's full of
like,
firecrackers.
It'll work out.
Right.
It'll be fine.
But also the Bugs
Jacket
Bunny
full
thing.
of firecrackers is an amazing.
Yeah. The Bugs Bunny thing of like sometimes like Daffy's kind of an ally.
Sure.
And sometimes he's totally an enemy.
Right.
Like Bugs constantly has like a couple people on his tail and a couple people who like their allegiances could shift.
Right.
And I was like, Lupin the Third is just like Bugs Bunny in a clean suit.
Good take.
And
if that's your way
shit.
in,
yeah,
it's a great way in.
Yeah. And when they're running, I just feel like the running feels so like Hanna-Barbera to move to a different cartoon world. Just because I'm trying to fucking build a
talking
bridge
about wacky
between
races,
the American cartoons that I loved and these movies that I've always had a hard time getting into. But I just feel like when Lupin's like running away from shit, the like flailing arms and legs and everything feels very like a Scooby and Shaggy running out of a castle.
Also, yeah, and like what's it called? Jigen being like, I got this gigantic gun all of a sudden, right? Where he's like, that'll deal with it. You can tell like an anti-tank gun.
Yeah.
You know, it's comical.
And the stylization of Jigen just like constantly like, you never see the top half of his head.
Right.
Always has a bent,
it's always like about to fall out.
Yeah,
it's mostly ash. Like all of that sort of like defying physics.
Right.
Yeah.
But I guess so the inspector arrives at the same time. He gets put down a trapdoor.
So they're both now down.
And Lupin gets put down the trapdoor.
And you know I love any story in which rivals have to work together. They're
Me too.
forced
I fucking love it.
to work together.
Lupin goes down the trapdoor and he's basically just sort of like waits for the inspector to show up. Because he's like, he's probably here.
Yeah. He's sort of just tapping his watch.
There's skeletons.
Skeletons?
Bunch of skeletons.
Skeletons?
Who have like carved their own like headstones and then died.
Bunch of bones, man. I love it.
Love that.
What was the last good haunted castle movie?
Good question.
It was a big question I kept asking myself watching this. That's a world we should be living in more.
I just Googled movies set in castles.
Yeah.
Amazing how the internet always tries to rise to the occasion for you, you know?
Castlevania wasn't good, right?
The TV show?
I don't know. I just know there
I
was
think
a
it wasn't that good,
thing.
but I mean, if they made a Castlevania movie, you could have a lot of fun with that. I mean, I'm into any castle property. Give me there's nothing.
Right?
I don't fucking know. There's nothing.
We need more castle movies.
I mean, it's probably like Howl's Moving Castle.
Wow.
It's probably the last good movie with a castle.
Yeah.
Even like, we're not even getting those like English. I mean, Game of Thrones. I guess that kind of sat on castle territory for a long time. You know what I mean?
There is that show Castle too. Is that about?
Oh, that
castles?
was the last great. Of course, that was the last great castle.
You know,
Nathan Fillion. The answer was in front of us all along.
Of course, because I'm looking up
spookiest
these castle lists, and it's all like horror movies from the '60s. You know, it's your Vincent Price type movie,
right?
Pit and the Pendulum. 13 Ghosts, the original. Not the remake, which I believe is not set.
There was that weird rush of Vincent Price remakes.
So many. There's Mask of Red Death. So
House
many.
of Haunted Hill was a Vincent Price.
Oh, you mean the remakes?
Right. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Right. The Keep is on this list.
Man, Vincent Price rules.
Yeah, he's cool.
Yeah. Dr. Phoebes, you ever see that?
No, I've always wanted to. I believe that's the movie that Kumail shows Zoe Kazan in The Big Sick.
It is.
As his like special movie.
And I saw Big Sick with my sister Romley.
Sure.
And when he said like, do you want to go back to my place and watch a horror movie? I just felt it in my bones. And I said, I bet you it's going to be Abominable Dr. Phoebes.
Hell yeah.
And she was like, what did you just say? And then it cut to the screen. I was like, I called it. And she was like, nothing you're saying matters.
Shut up.
I'm watching a film. Why do you feel
to enjoy
proud
the
of
movie.
yourself right now?
Right.
Hey, David,
Camille,
I have a question
blank
about
check.
the movie.
Mm.
Can you explain the counterfeiting and the history
this
of
was
the
my
money
question
and
as
stuff?
well. Please explain while I eat another bagel piece.
I couldn't really understand it. Or I kind of did, but I couldn't grasp it 100%. I feel like you're the rulesman.
What are you asking me? I don't understand. You guys don't get counterfeiting?
Well, no.
Classic counterfeiters?
Why is there like it's been going on for 5,000 years? And
why is this in their family history?
Well, I think the idea is it's like they're their own country, so no one can prosecute them because they are like themselves.
They're diplomatic immunity.
Right, and it's like the only people who could prosecute them would be like the police of Cagliostro, who are owned by the family, right? Like, it's like so that's why Interpol in this movie is like, we can't do anything about it. It's not, it's not crossing borders, so like it's not our problem. But then it's implied what's actually going on is that a lot of countries are buying the counterfeit money, and so they want to keep it hush hush. You know what I mean?
So they're in on the grift.
That is the answer I wanted. Okay. I did not.
Because there's that crazy scene where there's all the diplomats at Interpol with like little flags on their lapels talking to each other. Yeah. And the inspector's trying to be like, this guy has like a printing press and he makes counterfeit money of like every country. And they're like, yeah, but it's like, who's going to prosecute him? And like, I don't know. And then someone's like, and also the Soviet Union totally bought some, and the Soviet Union guy is like, these are Western lies. And like, I think he's like mocking the Cold War and the right, like all that stuff.
And then Lupin steals all their little flags, right?
There's that moment where he makes the flower for the girl and he pulls all the flags. Yeah.
He's like a close-up magician.
He does. He's one of those. That's confidence. That you flirt using close-up magic. That is high confidence.
Can we talk about, I don't know if this is like just like an obvious stand-up routine that everyone's doing now.
Right.
Dylan Butler, Buddy lives in Toronto.
Okay.
I saw him a couple months ago, and he was talking about how he was rewatching the X-Men cartoons.
Love him.
Which I know you're a big fan of. And he was like, it is very sobering to re-engage with 90s X-Men as an adult. And realize that Gambit is the kind of guy you would move away from at a bar.
Yeah, Gambit's a problem.
That as like a child, you're like, this is the apex of cool. And as an adult, you're like, he's constantly wearing a duster indoors. Yep. He insists on doing magic tricks.
Yes, he does.
He calls all women like darling and sweetie.
Yes,
and like,
his eyes are red.
Yeah.
Yep. No, but I mean, Gambit's
like a pickup artist.
Yes, he is. But even at the time, Gambit was a person that only children thought was cool. Like,
that's
even when
so
Gambit
weird.
was introduced, I feel like older fans were like, this guy is corny.
Yeah.
But kids were like, Gambit's cool.
I want to be Gambit when I grow up.
Yeah. And so X-Men were like, all right, more Gambit. And then people were like, no. And X-Men was like, fine, less Gambit, less.
I take my duster off. I hang up my playing cards.
I should mention, Ben has been dressed like Gambit this entire episode.
Ben keeps throwing playing cards at my head.
He's got that weird, like, head
calling
sock
me mon
on.
ami. You're right.
Where, like, it just covers the back of your neck.
He's got a weird costume.
Right, because he's got that. His ears poke through.
His ears poke through and his hair pokes out.
Right.
The new
his whole face is visible. It's his neck and the back of his head.
But his face is like, he's got like a window
it's
for his
framed.
face.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's very strange.
New season of Wolverine podcast, he's going to make an appearance.
Is that true?
Yeah, because they're now, it was in Alaska, then they're going back to when he was in New Orleans.
Yeah. Okay.
He is a classic gentleman thief, Gambit.
He is. He's that archetype.
Yeah.
Do you know who is playing Gambit? Have you submitted yourself?
No.
You could be Gambit. Ben could sound like Gambit. Could he not?
Sure. I mean, I think
Moshari.
Yeah, come on. That was perfect.
Not perfect.
That was perfect.
He just went Moshari.
Oh my God, you can do it too.
I'm pretty sure that the Gambit. What's this?
Moshari.
There should be a pirate X-Man.
There should.
There's never been one.
Cutthroat.
Sounds good.
That'd be a good name for an X-Men, right?
I love it. Little intense, but I love it.
Yeah. Oh yes, X-Men never have intense names.
Never have characters whose hands are knives.
Yeah, Warbird.
Love Warbird.
And Warpath as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of War X-Men.
That's true. Warpath. He's Thunderbird's brother.
Anyway, this has been another episode of X in the City.
Love it. Should have an X-Men podcast.
David, do you realize if you just wanted to, every one of these things you say, you could just start your own little fucking 17 podcasts. Like you do your every level of Mario.
That's if things really start getting in trouble for me. Then I'm like, okay, we're doing the every level Mario.
Right.
We're doing Donkey Kong Country 3.
Yeah.
We're doing an X-Men podcast. Why, is there another one?
No, I mean, that's a good start. Okay, guys, I want to introduce a new segment.
Okay.
We usually at the end of the episode play the box office game.
Box office game.
Where I try to remember the top 5 movies at the box office.
It's weird that you can do that.
Yeah, it is weird. I have a weird broken brain.
Yeah.
But I want to introduce a new segment that someone's going to try out. It's called the box game. We're going to rank what the best boxes are. So this is, let's see, right now this has been rated the best box. It's number 1. What's a good hint? It's like a box of awesome.
Box of Awesome. Maybe you got it at boxofawesome.com.
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about Bespoke Post.
I'm talking about Bespoke
Our friends at Bespoke Post.
You got it.
Yeah. These guys, they're out scouting for quality, unique products. They'll send it to you every month in a box.
I love curation.
Yeah. Well,
that's the thing I've always said about me. I love a curated,
it's a curated box, my friend.
Experience.
You're a connoisseur of curation.
Connoisseur of curates.
Yeah.
You're a cured man. Now, Mr. Hosley, we talked about our boxes last week.
Yeah.
But Benny got a box, too.
I think it's time for you to take over.
He got a Benny box.
Benny got a box.
So
Benny got a box.
I had a couple options, and what's so cool about Bespoke Post is that they have like a lot of different kind of curated boxes for different kinds of interests.
Yes, absolutely.
Now,
if you're in search for perfect drink, well-kept pad,
grooming,
jet setting in style,
right?
You like to groom.
I'm a grooming boy.
But what did you get? Tell me.
I got the chop box.
Okay, what's this chop box? Tell me all about it.
You gotta tell me about this chop box, Ben.
Well, it's a big ass cleaver.
It is a big knife. I'm looking at it. You've got a big cleaver. Now, you've also got another chopper, though. What's this fella?
This
is kind of like, right, yeah.
Handheld chopper.
Yeah.
That gives you, sure.
Oh,
so
yeah.
that gives you sort of a different kind of chopping experience. You can use them collaboratively, too, which I love.
Right. Sure.
And I've been chopping up a storm.
So your knife work's going crazy.
Now, the sample image they're showing here, you see a cutting board, you see the big
got some veggies
blade,
here.
you see the little hand blade, the hand chopper, and a bunch of chopped vegetables to show you its effectiveness in that arena. But can I throw out, here's another thing you could do with the chop box. Some really good Gangs of New York cosplay.
Yeah, sure. Build the butcher.
Big cleaver, little hand chopper.
That's a kill. This
is another thing I like about them, okay? They're stretching the definition of box. Because sometimes the box is like a bunch of little things, right? You get the barber box, it's going to give you a bunch of grooming essentials.
Yeah.
Sometimes the box is just one big knife.
Big old knifey.
You know what I'm saying?
And one little knife.
Okay, but you know what I'm saying. The point
sometimes
is,
the box is a bag.
Sometimes which blows my mind.
All right. Listen.
Because I got that.
I just want to tell you a couple
what's
things.
in this box? It was a bag.
I just want to tell you a couple of things. Okay?
Yeah.
Each box goes for under $50, but has more than $70 worth of unique gear inside for you. First of all, each month you get an email with your details, and you have 5 days to change colors and sizes and add goods. And if you're not feeling it, you can skip the box. Okay, so it's got all kinds of great
I'm just
stuff.
going to restate that's under $50 because you said it in a way where for a second I went $150.
No, under $50. Under $50.
See, but it didn't It sounded like he was saying.
All right. You're right.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm clarifying.
Each box goes for under $50.
I want people to know they're making a profit. They're not spending $150 for $70 worth of merchandise.
Don't harp on the point because you're making it sound worse.
No, make it sound better. You're getting a great deal.
I'm so hungry. To receive 20% off your first subscription box, go to boxofawesome.com and enter code check at checkout. That's boxofawesome.com, code check for 20% off your first box. Bespoke posts, themed boxes for guys who give a damn.
Under $50.
Under $50. You're right. It does sound
right.
Check out this knife.
Yeah. Ben. They make a pact down in the dungeon together. Mm-hmm. They overpower the assassins together. They escape.
Enemy of my enemy is my friend.
The cool sequence with the frogmen.
Yes.
Where Lupin takes them down underwater and then pulls the henchmen underneath.
All these henchmen suits are so cool.
The fucking wet crime in this is off the charts. It's so good.
Very good.
Dungeon crime.
Yes, dungeon
This movie's
crime.
got some DDC.
It's got a moist energy to it throughout.
It's got moist felonies.
And they get in that whirly gig, the auto gyro, to start a whole distraction.
Which I'm a neophyte, but I immediately go, well, this is some Miyazaki shit. The fact that they're in some crazy aerial vehicle, I was like, this is his thing.
Aero birds. Yeah. And what was I gonna say? This is where Lupin's almost gonna rescue her. He gets shot.
Yeah.
She trades the ring to save his life.
She said, marry me, keep him alive.
And then Fujiko fucks everything up, so Lupin gets to escape.
Yeah.
But, it basically means that we get to have the cool, awesome final set piece.
Right.
Which is them disrupting the wedding and the inspector using Lupin as a way in to investigate the counterfeiting, which is what he really cares about at this point.
Right.
Which I love that. I love the whole Interpol thing. I love that whole weird subplot.
Yeah.
I love that Lupin is his ally in that in doing crimes, he can investigate Lupin adjacent crimes.
Yes.
I love all that.
But he always thinks, I'm going to, on top of it, get Lupin. I'm not settling for Lupin adjacent crimes.
Right, but and which as I think you love too, as we're talking about any movie about a cop criminal relationship or whatever, where it's
the thrill is the hunt.
Yeah, the movie's going to end with Lupin getting away and the cop chasing him and being like, hey, I'll get you, and it's the eternal, right.
Yes, right.
He wouldn't know what to do with Lupin if he got him. Lupin would just escape anyway.
I imagine much like Wile E. Coyote and Roadrunner, he would eat him.
Is there ever one where he just feasts on Roadrunner?
There's the one where they kind of break.
There has to be. There always is one, right?
And they cut out from the short to 2 children watching it on TV.
Uh-huh.
And they go why is he so hung up on catching this guy anyway? And Wile E. Coyote stops, and it's the only one in which he speaks.
Uh-huh.
He's like, oh, I'm so sorry this wasn't clear. And he takes out a screen, and he explains the tenderness of the meat. In a very formal professorial voice. He direct addresses these 2 children watching their shitty TV screen.
Right.
And he's like, many hypothesize that the Roadrunner has the most succulent breast.
That's really funny. I've
it's
never
great.
seen it.
It was one of those things
awesome.
that broke my brain when I was 4.
When they make Ultrazord.
I wasn't allowed to watch that.
But when you were a kid, when you don't know things.
Yeah.
And you would just watch Power Rangers every week, and then one week they
because I wasn't allowed to watch.
I'm just saying, it's similar.
Okay, go along
one
with
week
your example.
they would make Ultrazord.
In what?
Power Rangers.
I don't know because I wasn't allowed to watch that.
And you were like, what's this now? Because every week Power Rangers would end with them making Megazord.
Right.
And Megazord would take out the sword and smash the villain, and it would die.
Yeah.
And then one week they do something different, and you're like, you can do something different? I just love that.
Sure. My thing was always talking about being so obsessed with the format and structure of things. Once that was cleanly established, anytime they would break the format like that. Yeah. Or the Steve Martin episode of The Muppet Show where they're like, show's canceled. and the whole episode's about them not putting on a show.
Right.
Like anything like that was
the Gethard show, where the whole episode was them preparing to do the Gethard show.
That rules.
Sounds really good.
That's my kind of jam. There's an episode of Garfield and Friends where Garfield, like in the opening, is talking about his like antagonistic relationship with the mailman.
Sure.
And the mailman's like, you know what? I quit. You win, Garfield.
Right.
You have broken me.
Right.
You've broken my spirits. I'm a shell of a man. My wife doesn't even recognize me anymore. You fucking win. Have fun.
Sure.
And then the mailman just like walks off frame. And Garfield's like, I'm sorry, this is really embarrassing. I don't know what the episode is now. And he walks off the set of Garfield and Friends and into the animated back lot. And he has to like plead with the mailman to come back into the episode.
Sounds good.
Yeah, it won a Peabody.
Did it?
No. It won a Griffey, though.
Ben's checking his phone.
I was really obsessed with sending people to Abu Dhabi. That was like a thing for me. Because then there's also this Velvet Underground song off of White Light, White Heat, where it's like a weird spoken word track where a guy mails himself to his girlfriend.
Okay.
I just something about the aesthetic of putting yourself in a box and then being mailed.
That's literally the thing you like is person puts himself in a box and ships himself to a foreign country.
I think that's very funny.
Yeah, that
someone mailing themselves
honestly,
somewhere is always fun.
Yeah.
That should be a new archetype.
Yeah, the guy who mails himself.
The mailer Damon.
The what?
It's just
weird. The way you guys are talking about this, it's like you should have responded with rapturous applause and recognition when Flat Stanley entered our studio 2 years ago, and you guys were fucking nonplussed.
He's never gotten over this. I think it was a year ago. Maybe it was 2 years ago.
Maybe it's been a while.
The wedding.
Talking about the ultimate male himself.
The wedding is so great.
Flat Stanley himself.
The
wedding is great.
The Count is dressed like a frickin' Satan worshiper.
Right.
There's guys with swords.
Right. All his henchmen. And they got a plan, which is they're going to come up from a platform. Oh, I love the fucking trapdoor. I'm sorry, just to move back.
Sure.
I love the detail of the trapdoor being triggered by the bus that also takes the pictures of people as they're falling to embarrass them.
Yes.
That there's this like perverse, like, not only do we want to like assert our power over anyone who tries to invade our castle,
right,
but also we have to humiliate them and have like the spoils of the humiliation.
Right.
It's like a reverse Splash Mountain where it's like you had a miserable time and I'm going to hang the photo up on my wall forever.
Yeah.
But I love that they rise up and pretend to be the spooky haunties of the murdered people from the trapdoors in the past.
But of course, the Lupin is a robot.
He's all
because
bandaged
Lupin
up.
has disguised himself as the Archbishop.
Well, he gets injured very badly. He's all bloodied.
He's all bloodied.
He's
got
amnesic.
Yep.
He wakes up. They're like, oh, our good friend Lupin the Third, he's gone. He doesn't remember anything.
Right.
And then he's like talking to the dog. The dog responds.
The tenderness of the dog moment, I could tell is like, it's like so sweet.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, this is going to be stuff that he does later.
This is going to be some of his shit.
Yeah. And that's probably what the original like Lupin, the Snyder heads of 1977 are like. This is soft. Like, why is Lupin should be a badass. Like, why is he talking to a dog?
Right.
Sorry. Go on.
My Lupin lives in the real world.
Right. And Miyazaki's got that humanistic sort of thread running through it.
But the dog, and then mentioning the Princess Clarice by name, triggers him, and he suddenly remembers everything.
Yes,
what day is it? What time is it? I have to go catch. I can't let them get married.
There's also that flashback of her saving his life when he was younger, and he tried to rob Cagliostro, and all that.
But
he knows her. She's nice.
I believe he was a greenhorn at the time.
Yeah, a bit of a greenhorn.
Yes. And of course, this is it's personal for him because it's not like he has anything personally to gain from this theft. He wants her to have her own freedom. He wants her to live her own life.
He also thinks the Count's a clown.
Wants
to clown him.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It wasn't
Guy's a
clear
dummy.
that it was like he's going to marry her kind of thing. Right.
But she's too young for him, which he knows.
And then they deal with it in a great way. And it was like, it wasn't dealt upon. So I just kind of went there because I think naturally you assume.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. But it was handled so well.
It is handled well.
Yes.
The whole wedding thing is just great. The whole, the fireworks, like you say, them pretending to be ghosts.
Mummy, ghost, rub it. You think that he's taking the bandages from his injury and disguising himself when in fact he has somehow
it's a double
procured a rub it,
yes.
put his clothes and bandages on it, and then put on the most complex fucking, like, you know, Peter Sellers-esque full embodiment of a character as a befuddled priest.
Yes, with a big mustache and beard.
Who's terrified of ghosts and goblins.
Right, and he's like, you're cursed. This is it. This is terrible.
I mean, he's given a good performance.
He is. He won the Oscar.
Yeah.
They were very clear.
Lupin the Third won Best Supporting Actor.
As the Archbishop in the Castle of Cagliostro.
Right.
Then you've got this amazing sequence on a clock tower.
Have they ever done that? Have they ever nominated a fictional character for best performance?
No, they have not.
Like
Deadpool, even?
Well, no.
No.
All right.
But can I say something? How crazy would it be if Deadpool hosted Saturday Night Live?
No. Too weird.
No, but like, do you know what I'm saying? Like in the middle of a sketch,
really.
It's like, excuse me, doctor. And he's like, yes, I'm definitely your doctor. And then he turns to the camera and he's like, nah, I'm Deadpool.
What if Deadpool was the musical act too and he just pointed to, I don't know, other Deadpools or something?
You know what's weird?
That is crazy. And when he was doing it, he'd be like, another one. I'm doing the DJ Khaled thing.
Do you guys know
like
what's
he
weird?
would tell you what he was doing.
Do you guys know what's weird?
What?
Disney owns Deadpool.
Disney owns Deadpool.
The Walt Disney Corporation.
Disney owns Deadpool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And you know who knows it? Deadpool.
That's right.
Deadpool was the first to comment
He
on
was
it.
the first. It's true.
And suddenly we've hit a wall. Sorry, I didn't mean to bring up Deadpool.
Yeah, thanks for doing that. The clock tower
He knows he's
sequence,
in a movie, though.
which
He does know
Clements
he's in
and Musker.
He knows he was acquired by Disney. He knows he's in
I know, of course he does.
Right.
Clements and Musker
Great Mouse Detective.
pay homage to this clock showdown in the Great Mouse Detective.
Which is also like the first a real CGI set piece in an animated film.
Right. Which,
Have you ever seen Great Mouse Detective, Ben?
I have not.
Fuck, Ben would like that movie.
Maybe we should do Clements and Musker.
Radigan?
Radigan is cool. He does fuck.
Disney was like in their like weird dark period where nothing was working, and they were like, fuck, we've gone through most of those fairy tales. What should we do? And they were like, what if we do our version of Sherlock Holmes and it's all mice?
Cool.
And it's like Victorian, like fucking British mice.
Fun.
And Vincent Price in one of his final performances plays Radigan, who's one of the best villains ever.
Who I believe Fran Hoffner has on the record said was her first crush.
Yes.
Radigan.
I mean, he's thick.
He is very thick.
Radigan thick.
But
yes, I mean, this is incredible.
I
this
love
is
it.
also very like Chaplin-esque.
It's
very
Chaplin-esque,
Buster
but
Keaton.
then
I mean,
it
obviously
has-
the modern times thing.
it
but
has
just,
that like sort of like that little dark edge to it, and like that shot where he cuts to like a super wide,
Mhm.
and you just see the two hands of the clock go like that
Yes.
to snip him. Like it's so like gross without being gross. Like right, like you know, it's like it's just like a little perfect like. doop.
Yeah, well, and there's like stuff. I mean, this is the big thing that people always cite, that like Japan for a very long time has understood that animation is an art form and not a genre.
Sure.
And us dumb Americans tend to
Think of it the other
ghettoize
way. Yeah.
as they are children's films exclusively.
Nod.
And every year when they do the fucking animated category at the Oscars, they almost always describe it as like, and they say these movies are for children.
I hate that.
With this level of crafts, it's not just kids play. You know, like they always say
Yeah,
like
no, I
bullshit
know,
like
I
that.
know, I know,
but
I
this
know.
is a movie where you're like, this thing's got stakes.
Yeah.
It's about criminals.
Sure.
There's violence.
There's guns.
He bleeds a bunch.
He does.
There are direct sexual references, not even
course.
double entendres.
Oh. Fucking rules.
Yeah.
It's great. It's exquisite.
Yeah.
Lupin does give the Count the treasure.
Mhm.
Gives him the 2 rings finally.
Because they've put together at this point, while
Because
trying
there's that
to...
whole floppy business with the
Right.
fake ring, which we
Right.
never talked about, which is
Oh.
a tiny little bird that talks to him inside of it.
blows up
before
in
it
his face.
explodes.
Literally blows up in his face.
They really do like to prank each other. You're right. Like the photos,
Yeah.
the things exploding. And it
But
turns
they've
out
realized the code, put the rings together based off the seal.
but it turns out that the treasure is actually
No one knows
just
what the treasure.
Huh?
No one knows what the treasure is until this point.
Yes,
Right.
And it turns out it's actually this like crazy ancient Roman town that was like built underneath the castle that Cagliostro's like built over.
Well, it
And
wasn't
that's-
built under the castle. It was
It
like
was there.
fall of Rome,
Right.
flooded, and they were like, let's just build a castle on top of this.
Right.
We know the flood's coming.
And Lupin's like, too big a treasure for
Some
my
Atlantis
pockets.
adjacent. Right.
Yeah. It's great. And then they get in cars and drive around.
And he's just like, look, you got to live your life. You've been up in a castle all these years. You're just starting to figure out who you are. You're not going to come with me to scumbum territory.
Right.
I love that she's like, I can learn. I know I'm not a good thief yet. I can learn.
Right.
And he's like, I'm like the first real person you've dealt with.
Yeah.
You got to go out there and get a larger sample size. You got to figure out who you really are.
Right.
I'm not going to take advantage of you because I am a gentleman thief.
He's a gentleman thief. We love him.
And then the inspector has this weird exchange
Go on.
he's like, I just missed him. And she's like, don't worry, he didn't steal anything this time.
Right.
And he's like, how dare you say that? He stole something very valuable. Your heart.
Good line.
Yeah.
And she's charmed by it.
Right.
And then they pursue each other in tiny little cars.
It's another wild little car.
And they're going to have adventures forever.
Right.
And it's great. The movie came out and it did okay.
Okay.
Hey, final thought. Just want to also point out, I loved the music.
Yeah.
It was so throwbacky, but man, it
Really
it was comforting.
Yuji Ono, he's not yet working with Joe Musashi, the guy who he's like, his guy.
And also, did we say that the henchmen or whatever, the cops from Cagliostro, they look like wet, like thugs.
They look like wet thugs.
Yeah.
I just want to see, because I feel
Soggy
like
crooks.
Yeah.
soggy crooks, right?
Soggy goons, I should say.
Yeah,
right.
that's better.
I'm trying to see anything about how it did in Japan, but it grossed. Yeah, it didn't do very well.
Yeah,
it did
like
okay.
It was
grossed 600 million yen, which is like $7.5 million.
Like this would be viewed as a minor entry in a venerable franchise, if not for the fact that it was the film debut of.
But it's special and it's influential,
right?
Cagliostro. I mean, Spielberg supposedly saw it in the early '80s and supposedly references it in Tintin.
I think yes.
Yeah,
I feel like this is very much on a similar track with Indiana Jones.
Like he likes the chase sequences. He likes all that
Tintin
sort of
feels
adventure.
Very Lupin the Third.
He does, in a way. Lupin's more of a jerk, but it's similar, sort of like.
No, but the tone of the movie overall feels very similar. Yeah.
And then of course, Lasse Hockenberg himself.
Yeah.
Sees this movie, it blows his fucking mind.
Right.
Gary Trousdale, who directed Atlantis: The Lost Empire, said that the scene of the waters receding to show the city, as you said.
Yeah, I had to say it. Yeah. Had to say it.
For the box office game, the only thing I could think of is that it was re-released in 2017.
It was released in 2017?
Well, let's do that weekend.
Oh, I should have seen it.
September 8th, 2017.
Wow.
Number one in the movie is a movie about a killer clown.
Oh, I know exactly what film this is. It's about a killer clown?
Yeah.
I didn't realize the Donald Trump biopic came out that weekend.
That's right. The Orange Monster himself.
Yes. Orange-haired monster who terrorizes children. Yeah, I think that film's called Trump.
Where is this film set? The White House? Oh, no.
Man, Trump is so good for comedy.
I can tell you what the theme song for that movie was. Hail to the Chief. I just want to do that all day, where you make the most obvious thing.
But it's just true what they said. Every comedian is loving that he's president. We're
so
all dining
fun to
out.
mock.
We never run out of really funny for it all. He's very nuanced. That's the other thing.
Aren't you on a show about Trump?
Yeah, I am. Which hopefully hasn't also been canceled by this
come
point.
on.
I think that show's doing well.
I actually think that show is better than most at the
I agree. I think that show is very good.
Trump satire.
I think that show is genuinely very good.
Whatever happened to the Anthony Atamanuik show?
Comedy Central just sort of like, I don't know. Maybe it's coming back at some point.
I thought it was coming back and then it never did.
Yeah, they kind of did one of those.
Huh.
I think they let him do a special, and maybe
they let him do a
just
couple specials, and they were like, "It's not canceled. We're like exploring opportunities on our schedule."
What? We've done this weekend because guess what was number 2 that weekend? It was a new entry. Came in behind it. No, so it made 158.
Detroit?
Nope, but right by
in that territory. 27.
So I mean, not
Dunkirk.
No, although Dunkirk is number 8. Think nightmarish comedy about people hanging out in a house and chilling and having fun, learning some life lessons.
This is a hard one.
Nice boy.
We've covered it on the show.
Yeah.
It's a nightmarish comedy.
I mean,
no one in
opinion.
the movie is real or exists.
Like actor-wise or character-wise? Or both?
Character-wise.
Does it have famous people in it?
Totally.
Nightmare People.
I mean, but I'm being satirical.
No, I know, but I'm like, okay, so it's a movie we hate.
No, I kind of like it.
Really?
Should I give him the ultimate clue?
Good schlock.
Ultimate clue?
Yeah.
Do, 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 do.
We're going home again, baby.
Oh, boy. We got to cover her movie when it comes out, right?
Yeah.
Her Keaton movie?
I emailed like 5 Alarm, like all of my reps, and I was like, can I please? Like, I want nothing more than to be in a Hallie Meyershire, Michael Keaton comedy.
Right.
And weirdly, I guess, I don't know, all of their replies have just been going to spam. They must have written back to me. My career is thriving.
Hey, baby, you got blank check all the way to the top.
Yeah, blank check millions. I'll be able to retire on the city we have hidden underneath our recording studio.
You know,
that's our
Patreon money's got to go somewhere.
Our matching rings.
You're right. Number 3 is a movie that doesn't exist. We've talked about it in the Home Again episode when we played this box office game. It's a comedy.
What is a show become?
It's a comedy.
We're going over the Home Again box office weekend for this.
Shut up. Be quiet.
It's a comedy that doesn't exist from 2017.
Sort of action comedy. It's about a job.
It's about a job.
It's like he's got a job.
He has a job.
Yeah, it's like his job is protecting a guy with a job.
Oh, him and his bodyguard.
You know, it's one of those job movies.
Yeah, the Hitman's
Aren't they
Bodyguard.
putting out a new thing?
Yeah, it's
Hitman's
Hitman
Bodyguard's
wife. You know, it's a wife job.
It's a wife job.
Number 4 is a horror
And you know
prequel.
what the 4th one's going to be?
What?
A Batman's Hitman's Bodyguard.
Sure. Superhero job wife.
Our title's just going to be that in the future. They're just like jargon that doesn't
No,
make
it's good.
sense.
Yeah, we're going to get into the Abbott and Costello territory.
A very merry Harold and Kumar, Bad Moms, Hitman's Bodyguard's Wife's
Yeah, that's
Christmas.
like it'll be like
3D.
Batman meets Bad Moms. Easter.
Well, what if you take out all the bridge words? You take out the bridge words.
Batman,
you don't even do like meets. Yeah.
Batman, Despicable Me, Dark Tower.
Right. Minions. Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah. It, Bridesmaids, James Bond.
Steve Carell, emoji,
Sometimes
girls trip.
The actor's name.
You're right. What's that one? Steve Carell plays an emoji who goes on the 4th girls trip, and it's set in, Buenos Aires.
Chris Pratt, Madagascar, Rocky 3.
It was sponsored by Sonos Beam. I don't know. That's what it would actually be.
Yeah.
It would be like Creed 6, Sonos Beam, ESPN, Spider-Man Homecoming the 3rd, right? Right? Anyway, number 4 of the box office was Annabelle Creation.
Tyler Perry's Mountain Dew Baja Blast.
Which does fit Annabelle Creation, where it's like,
yeah,
okay, let's do a prequel origin story explaining a spin-off of the doll from the Conjuring movie.
Right.
It's like we already had an Annabelle movie, but what's her deal?
Right.
What's up with Annabelle?
Right.
Let's get to the creation.
I mean, my favorite one of these, I've said it before, but that there is a prequel to The Scorpion King.
Yeah, right.
Which is the prequel to a
The Mummy Returns, to
spin-off.
Right. Prequel to a spin-off
to a sequel
was a spin-off of a sequel
to a remake.
To an original of a remake. Yeah.
Anyway,
number 5 is Wind River. I don't know. I'm not giving you a call on that one.
It's so weird that movie did so well.
Did great.
It's such an off-putting movie.
It is.
It came out right when the Weinstein Company was collapsing.
But
it did like 35 domestic.
It did 35 domestic.
Crazy.
It is at its core
kind of a taut August thriller.
Yeah, it's like an airplane
Revenge,
novel with a bit of a like cool Western sheen. So it's like for dads.
I think it's a gross movie with like 3 really good elements.
I do too, but I think it's like a gross movie that could not be gross with some easy fixes.
I agree.
That's just how
Shootout's
it goes.
good.
Action's very good.
John Bernthal's great in it.
Yeah, sure.
Never Let Renner Go Full Cowboy.
Yeah, definitely not. Howl's Moving Podcastle is crushing.
Okay, so
it looks like you won.
Great. And tension is diffused.
There was tension?
Yeah. The audience has not dropped a single breath since the episode started.
We've got an exciting Miyazaki times ahead.
What's up next week?
Nausicaa, the Valley of the Wind.
Great.
I've never seen that one, obviously.
No, I had tickets to go see Fathom event screening Tuesday with our friend Ramona, and I canceled due to
poopage,
diarrhea,
Poopery.
As
General
I like poopery.
Yeah, General Poopery.
Yeah, that's the name of my franchise I'm starting. What if that's my new character?
Your new potpourri franchise?
General Potpourri. That could be a good, transmedia, multi-platform comedy character with franchise potential.
Put it on the slate.
Yeah, fine. Putting General Potpourri's on the
General Potpourri. Right, yeah. Either one.
Both of them. General Potpourri meets Major Potpourri.
They got to match up.
Yeah, right. And then you do Potpourri Origins, and then Potpourri makes night eggs or whatever, right?
Well, cinema's a graveyard.
But the Castle of Cagliostro was great, and Miyazaki, we're going to have a great time. Miyazaki's still working.
I know.
Yeah, he's got a new movie coming out.
I know. This is his 5th unretirement. Is that right?
Correct.
Yeah.
This is exciting. I'm really into this
is a whole new
miniseries.
zone, and I like being able to discover this many movies for the first time. I'm very encouraged by how much I like this.
Sure.
Trying to get over a lot of my weird hang-ups.
Yeah.
We'll probably talk about them more in other episodes.
Maybe. Yeah.
That I think are just about how much of an animation nerd I was and how comfortable and committed I became to American animation styles. Right. Let's say also we will be, for the first time, I want to announce that we are officially accepting fan art. There's obviously been a draconian fan art ban on this podcast.
Good call. If people want to draw pictures of
and
us,
the
please
gates are open.
Although someone made a fridge magnet of me.
that
was crazy.
Did you see that? It was like sculptural. It was like a 3D,
three-dimensional.
hot David a la Joe Bowen.
Yeah.
Cartoon
Which is, of course,
David.
a fully accurate representation of what I look like.
Yes. Dead on.
Green button down and all.
You've only become hotter than that representation. But let's say the gates are up. The ban is lifted.
Right.
We want Miyazaki fan art.
Great.
I want to see Ben as Lupin the Third.
Hell yeah.
Ben's Dragon.
Yeah, Dragon.
Right?
Yeah, 100%. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm Goemon.
So I'm Lupin.
Yeah. I'm definitely Goemon because I'm like, come on, guys.
Yeah.
Jesus, let's take this seriously.
Right.
And you're like, ah!
And I have a big gun and I'm smoking.
Right. And the inspector is whoever is supposed to record after us at the Audio Boom Studios.
Right, exactly.
These guys!
And they're just like, why are there bagel crumbs everywhere?
Been waiting here for 5 hours.
In the eternal words of David Sims, I gotta pee. So let's wrap this up.
Well, please. You think that's impressive?
Oh, boy.
Wait till you hear what my butt's been doing for the last 4 days. Thank you all for listening. Please remember to rate, review, subscribe. Thanks to Andrew Figueroa for our social media, Joe Bone and Pat Reynolds for our artwork. Remember to send us all your Miyazaki Two Friends and Ben drawings.
On Twitter, or you can email us blankcheckpodcast@gmail.com.
Go to Reddit, blankies.reddit.com. Go to TeePublic. Get some nerdy merch. Go to TeePublic. Get some shirts.
Yeah.
That would be cool too if we had like a really good Miyazaki drawing. Maybe we'd do that. Maybe we'd sell a shirt that was like us in the style of Miyazaki.
100%.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Fuck, that would be cool.
That'd be cool. Maybe that's for sale right now. Maybe this is the encouragement for someone to now put pen to paper and start that. Or, I don't know, stylus to tablet.
Remember how I had to be?
Yeah. So in conclusion, tune in next week for Nausicaa Valley of the Wind.
Yep.
And as always, finish my bagel here.
You're struggling to pick up the bagel.
David, you could go to that.
No. Episode's not over yet. Episode's not over yet. Episode's not over yet. This is the last episode. This is the end as always, but the episode's not over yet.
You can't eat that whole bagel. Why did I say that? Now that's what he wants to do.
Yeah, that's the challenge now.
I think I can.
All right, I'm going. That's enough. You have no power over me.